It's time. Finally, a show for you. A once-a-week extravaganza, giving you the weekend's movies, the week's cons and entertainment events, what is worth watching on television for the week, the weekly comic book, novel, game, and collectible releases, as well as entertainment news and information. Everything you want, everything you need in pop culture. It's Pop Culture Kaboom with your host, Jimmy Jones.
Hello, world, and happy St. Patrick's Day. If I'm not quite sounding myself, that's because I am recovering from being ill. That's always fun. Anyway, welcome to Pop Culture Kaboom's radio show. Co-host Rob Nault is out today, but in his stead is Mr. Mark Helton.
Good evening, world.
Hello, how are you, sir?
Living the dream, one day at a time, and you?
Well, you can hear how I am.
Yes, lovely. I hope I don't catch anything.
Well, I do have wet ones, so I'm making sure I'm containing my illness to just my little corner of the studio.
Thank you.
Yeah. As you notice, every time I have to cough or anything, I brought my own box of Kleenex and all that fun stuff. And I'm not leaving them on the countertop. I'm putting them in my pocket. So
yes, we should have given you a mute button for yourself today.
Yeah, no doubt, huh? But I'm going to try and contain that. Hopefully I won't be doing much of that, but thanks for reminding me. I need to grab my waters at some point in time. Anyway, I am your not so humble host of all things Pop Culture Boom, Jimmy Jones. Tonight we will give you everything you want, everything you need from pop culture entertainment with the latest news and information from the past week and a sneak peek at releases coming out in the very near future. Pop Culture Kaboom's radio show is also your place on the radio dial for you to talk about your favorite fandoms. Tonight we'll have for you Quizmaster Scott, a Sporkle Pub Quiz with Scott trivia question, and we have two huge prizes for you to choose from. You can get yourself a pair of tickets to Carson City's first ever pop culture and comic book convention, KaboomCon, taking place at the Carson City Community Center Saturday, September 7th, courtesy of 97 Now Productions. Or you can get yourself a pair of tickets for the advanced screening of Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire, for the advanced screening on Thursday, March 28th at 4 p.m. at Galaxy Theaters in Carson City. And this is courtesy of Galaxy Theaters. And you can choose from either of them. You can't choose both. You need to one or the other. So flip a coin, decide which one you want.
If it was me, I'd have to go with the Godzilla tickets.
Really?
Well, yeah, because, I'm kind of running KaboomCon, so I'll be there
anyway?
regardless.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, is there a particular fascination as to you like what you've seen so far for Godzilla X Kong?
I will say I've never been a big Godzilla guy. My father, on the other hand, huge, so I grew up watching them. But I will say, especially after seeing them finally get their first Oscar, and maybe there's a little wheel roll in here.
Yeah, I think this is where it's going to roll off the cliff, actually.
Oh, no.
I don't know what it is. I just noticed that anytime a movie includes these weird, fluorescent colors, that movie's going to go downhill. You got Aquaman, the Lost Kingdom, that went downhill when it did that. Blue Beetle wasn't very good, and then
yeah, I'm hoping maybe that was just trailer magic rather than.
So, I mean, it's just way too much color brightness, if you ask me, for Godzilla. But what do I know? I am not the world's foremost expert on Godzilla. That's Scott. But anyway, you can get either of those two prizes, and you can choose from either one of them. Stay tuned so you can try and correctly answer the Sporkle Pub Quiz with Scott trivia question. We'll, of course, be joined by Mr. Tony Sanfilippo of Filippo's Horrible Reviews. We are a week ahead. I don't know how I messed that up, but I was giving everybody way too advanced copies of trailers and stuff to lament on. So since we're ahead, we're going to kind of pump the brakes a little bit on that and talk about other
time traveling.
A little future predicting. But so to get everything caught up, or at least get the world caught up to my mind, I guess is the way to put it. Yeah, that's a scary thought, isn't it? We're going to pump the brakes on the movies this week and talk about other movie-related things, like according to Den of Geeks, one of the news sources that I go to, there are 121 remakes or reboots happening in the film industry right now.
121.
121. Good evening, Eric.
So just a couple.
Yeah. A lot of the ones that because I did send you and Tony a list of the ones that, some of the ones at the top of the article. I didn't obviously send you all 121. That'd be overkill because we're not going to do the whole show on them.
Yeah, I think you got through F.
Yeah, but, there's a lot I cut out. I cut out the Batman Part 2 because that technically to me isn't a reboot or it's a
sequel of a reboot at this point.
Superman Legacy, that new one that's going to be coming out.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't include that one. So there's a couple I left out just because they're not, in my mind, would be considered reboots. They're just, technically I guess they are, but whatever.
Well, this is Jimmy's world after all.
Yes, it is. And so it's my rules. All right. And with that in mind. Anyway, so we'll be doing a little bit of that, talking about that. And so we'll be talking about upcoming movie releases. And our special guest this week is the Defiler of Decency, the OG Viking from another world, the leader of the scumdogs of the universe, a.k.a. GWAR, an all-around nice guy, Blothar the Berserker. GWAR. I can actually do that without even trying right now. GWAR. Mm-hmm. I always like that. I it's kind of like almost, not quite, but how raspy my voice gets after I... Yes, I am feeling under the weather, Eric. Thank you. How could you tell?
He's very, very, very used to listening.
Yes, he is. Down there in Whittier, California, IA. So I don't even remember what it was. Oh, yeah. So,
GWAR.
Yeah, so GWAR. Now I sound like a Smaug from the Hobbit, but that's fine with me. I don't mind that.
So how did you land this interview?
How did I land this interview? I emailed them.
Oh, well.
Yeah. My philosophy is this, okay? Anybody who wants to get into doing any kind of radio, or even if you have a blog and you want to interview people, ask. It's not that hard. I mean, what's the worst they're going to say? No, and you're back where you were in the first place. So this isn't the first time I've asked GWAR. So, I mean, and that if that tells you anything, the first time I asked them, they're like, no, we're on tour. We can't do that. This time I got lucky, and it was like, I knew they were going to be going on tour. So I, sent an email, said, hey, am I coming on? They're like, well, we'd have to do it this date because we'll be on tour. So, and they are currently on the Age of Befuddlement tour right now, as a matter of fact. I'm sorry you've been suffering sinus for the last 2 weeks. I've been suffering from, I don't know, this cold hit me out of nowhere, and so this is day 4. So it really made a mess of my week. It's not like I get enough sleep anyway, but I can't even sleep. I can't sleep if I can't breathe. Mm-hmm. And I'm not a mouth breather. So I cannot, getting sleep has been incredibly hard. So as you can tell, that's as good as I can breathe.
Lovely.
No, it's not. Anyway, we'll be talking to Blothar the Berserker. Then there's no denying GWAR's impact on pop culture entertainment, and we'll be talking with Blothar the Berserker about all things GWAR, including the current Age of Befuddlement tour that they are currently on, the follow-up comic book to GWAR Into the Duoverse of Absurdity, the GWAR vs. Time board game, the new GWAR figures coming out from Trick or Treat Studios, when we might hear a new GWAR album, and the status of the upcoming GWAR movie, GWAR Must Die. Thank you. I will try and feel better soon. I've been taking all kinds of medications for it, so medications. So if you would like to add your thoughts, comments, participate in the Sporkle Pub Quiz with Scott Trivia, talk about your favorite fandoms, call 775-515-4141. Tonight's guest is a pre-recorded interview since GWAR is currently on tour, so unfortunately you won't be able to talk with Blothar the Berserker, at least not here, at least not this time. If you're, however, too shy for the phones, you can send a DM to me through the Pop Culture Kaboom Facebook page, which I will read and answer on the air. But if you don't want to comment during the show, but would still like to comment, you can reach us 24/7 by sending an email with your questions, comments, or concerns to popculturekaboom@gmail.com. Send your emails to popculturekaboom@gmail.com and follow the simple but very important instructions. In the subject line, put question, comment, concern, or my fandom. In the body of the email, please add your first name or no last name as necessary, and I will not read email addresses on the air. Also include the city and state or the city and country that you live in. Then fire away with what's on your mind. Bear in mind, emails are read on the air unless you specify for it not to be, or you can't follow those simple instructions. And I do have some emails this week.
Wait, this week people followed the instructions?
Some of them.
Fantastic.
A very few, like 3. Though not all 3 were very nice emails, but anyway. So Chelsea in Richmond, Indiana, still at a loss as to why you think your opinion should matter to anyone. I don't think my opinion should matter to anyone. My opinion matters to me, and that's all that matters to me. You've proven time and time again to be a misogynist, racist, homophobe. I don't know how I've proven that at all, considering the guests that I have on the show, and I guess because I don't ask and it doesn't
Pronouns?
matter to me. I don't play the pronoun game. I've had various people on here of all kinds of different sexualities, genders, colors. It does not matter.
A line that you said?
No,
or something
they don't. They never quote anything. They just throw that out there that I must be that because I don't know why. Quite honestly, you claim to be a gamer, but you only play that relic Star Wars game that it was canceled over a decade ago because I liked it. And
it was a great game.
I don't see what the problem is. You know, are you going to play it? That Star Wars Restoration.
Oh yeah,
you're playing it.
I have not yet. I'm waiting for it to go on sale because I refuse to.
It's free.
What?
It's free.
What?
It is free. I'll set you up.
Please, yes.
It's the Star Wars Galaxies that came out in like 19.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not a pay-to-play service.
No.
Oh, I assumed it would be because that's what they do with everything they try to re-release these days. So.
It's not technically being re-released. It's a fan-funded.
Oh, so it's like a backdoor server kind of thing, like what they're doing with City of Heroes.
Kind of, yes, but a lot better. And they're actually making a lot of content changes to it that are really cool. They're going to be adding a new planet to it. So
please send me. Yes,
I will, and I'll hook you up with my characters. Are you into horror movies?
I mean, not like you, but
I have a Transdoshan bounty hunter named Rawhead Rex. Yes.
Awesome.
A Bothan, you played Star Wars Galaxies, right? You remember the Bothans?
Yep.
Okay. The only place you'll see them, by the way, you never actually see a Bothan in any Star Wars movie or show.
No.
And it's bizarre. But anyway, even though like a lot of them died getting the Death Star plans to them, but anyway. So I have a Bothan named Pentharo.
Nice.
From Thundercats. And what was the other? A Rhodian bounty hunter too, who's also bounty hunter combat medic. So I can do all kinds of nasty things to people. So yeah, I'll send you the link.
Yes, I used to play Galaxies in, if you will recall, internet cafes.
Oh, really?
Yes,
wow.
in Milpitas, California.
Oof.
Yes.
See, that's where I first got into it. When I didn't even get into it until they actually released Jump to Lightspeed. I was like, oh, really? I can fly an X-Wing or a TIE Fighter. But I ended up always going with the... I don't know why, but I went with the privateer ships. Because I don't know why they looked better to me. So they were really cool. So, Eric said something and I missed it. Hold on. Oh, no, I got that. Feel better soon. Thank you, Eric. So anyway, back to that. But it's a fun game, so I'm going to continue to play it as long as I can.
As you should.
And it came out again, and somebody's actually, so a bunch of other gamers have decided to reverse engineer the code so that they can, make it available. And I signed up and I'm playing it and I'm having fun. So whatever. I never claimed to be a gamer in the first place. I mean, I always say I do play games. I don't say I'm a gamer, man.
You talk about games because they're one of the 7 pillars, but...
Well, it's stuff that I always talk about stuff that interests me. So games interest me. And, I don't necessarily have
to play them for them to be interesting.
Yeah. Well, that, and I don't have to own every game's console system or play every single kind of game. I mean, I have a Steam account, but who doesn't? I mean, so it's not like I'm going to go rush out and just clog up my computer with just that. I have other things I need my computer for, quite honestly.
Agreed.
So, I don't have a computer just dedicated specifically for gaming either. So yeah, you can't stand strong women characters. That's a load of crap. I think I've gone through this already with people before. For those who weren't listening the first time around, A strong woman character is not one that demeans everybody else on the screen. And we went through this before. I always thought that Ripley from the Alien series was a strong woman character. Jamie Lee Curtis's Laurie Strode from the Halloween series was a strong woman character. So that is irrelevant. If it's a badly done woman character that they're trying to push off as a lead, then yeah, I'm going to say something about it because it's a bad character.
Just as you would if it was a male character.
Yeah, any character, period. End of story. Or the, I'm always horrible with these acronyms, LGBTQIA+. I had to actually look that up to find out what all those things meant because I wasn't quite sure. A lot of them just seem redundant too. Mm-hmm. Because they're just kind of repeating the same thing, just a different word for it. Anyway, plus community being represented in any form of media. No, that's not true. I just don't like when they take a character and change it to fit somebody else's model. If they came up with a character that was, for example, and I've had him on my show, there's a guy, he is homosexual, he does Surge of Power. And Surge of Power is the world's first gay superhero. And he's released a lot of movies. He's gone to cons. I've had him on, he's actually been in here on studio. I've interviewed him on the YouTube and everything. He's a very nice guy. And he does Surge of Power. Now, if you want to claim that I don't, and I have no problem because he came up with his own character.
Sure, you're talking about taking an existing property and spinning it to appeal to a certain brand.
Yeah, which never made any sense to me. For example, the whole body shaming thing that came up a while back. There was actually a comic book character named Faith. Mm-hmm. She was a heavyset woman. Mm-hmm. That is fine. That was what the comic book was about. So I have no problems with that because they didn't take somebody and make them, to fit this image to go and try and, bring attention to it. They made a character. There's plenty of, I've said this before about like Superman. I never saw a reason to make a black Superman, a black Batman. There's plenty of African-American creators out there creating their own characters that you don't have to go and take a Batman or a Superman just because you're popular and change them. You go and check out what the other people what actual African Americans are creating and boost them up instead of tearing something else down. I mean, that's I think what it all boils down to. If you're going to build something up, why tear something else down to build something up?
Agreed.
That makes no sense. It's just never been how I've been. So anyway, and then after all of this, they have the nerve to say, get a life. If you think you can make a better comic book, game, movie, or TV show, then do it. Okay. But you can't. And your backwards, closed-minded, shallow worldview wouldn't be accepted by anyone but your white supremacist friends.
I would consider you a friend. I am not a white supremacist. So at least you have one that is not.
I think Eric thinks I'm a friend, but Eric isn't white supremacist either.
So there you go. You have at least two friends that aren't white supremacists. I can't speak to all your friends.
Nah, I can't speak to all my friends either. Think about that one. No, I'm just kidding. All right. First off, a backwards, closed-minded, shallow worldview. So, I mean, I have my worldview. You have your worldview. Everybody has their own worldview. And to think that you can kind of browbeat somebody into believing your worldview is better than their worldview, to me is nonsense. And
the thing to remember is this email reeks of, if you don't believe what I believe, then you're bad.
Yeah,
and
which I've never functioned that way as a human.
No, that's the whole point of this country, is we're supposed to be able to have our own philosophies.
And that's kind of what I've never, and if you've been a long-time listener to this show, you know that Rob has his preferences on TV shows, movies, and other people that have been on the show had their viewpoint of what they believe and what they like. I've never forced my view of what I like on anybody, nor do I bash with their views on things. If they like something, then they like it. That's their prerogative. And that's the thing about entertainment and the entertainment world is that it is supposed to be, what you get out of it, not what somebody tells you you're supposed to get out of it.
Absolutely. And I would suggest if this writer doesn't find you entertaining, stop listening.
Always an option. But every now and then I get these, and they're always fun. And Dale from Pleasant Hill, California, IA. Wow, that is an impressive list of news sources that you pull from. The news pool that he's referring to is I get asked what the different sites and where I get all my information from, and I actually listed a majority of them. And then Dale goes on to say, ever thought about starting your own news company to consolidate all that information and literally be at the forefront of the news cycle instead of commenting on it afterwards? No, that would require too much work, Dale. And quite honestly, it's already enough work just trying to find all this information to share with everybody, because I know that, at least in my world, I can't keep up with everything, so I don't think everybody else can. And at least this gives also what I can find. It gives everybody the opportunity to be able to continue to talk about it afterwards, instead of just being there giving some people stuff to make sure that they are also liking it and wanting to talk about it. Braden from Carson City, Nevada. Though I'm from Carson City, I'm actually overseas in South Korea at the moment on deployment. Due to the time difference between here and home, I can't always tune into the show live, so I either listen to it through the radio station's archive or the podcast. Thank you. I am hoping to be home in time for Kaboom Con. I always hated having to go up to Reno to attend a con. Thanks for making entertainment entertaining. I try. I really do. Because nothing would be more boring than somebody being boring on the radio, telling you about how boring things are. Hit drop. Select. There we go. Try again. Nope. There it is. And hit the button. There you go. So it is time for the Sporkle Pub Quiz with Scott. Maybe. Are we having phone issues? You can try to bring it over and see what happens. Put it on put him on hold. Yeah, now try bring it straight onto the air. Hello, caller. Who's this and where are you calling from? And going once. Going twice. Sold to the darkness. Goodbye. All right. All right. So I guess it isn't time. That's weird.
Well, I can say I did try to call Scott.
What happened?
Nothing.
Okay.
It rang, and then it went to a voicemail.
Oh, that's not good. All right. Well,
yes.
We tried. Yes, and dead silence. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and just go and...
So really quickly on those emails, a very diverse group or crop, if you will. I got to say that I loved the last email. Unfortunately, I didn't get to comment at the time, so I apologize. But, it's great to hear that you've got listeners that are engaged worldwide. And I love the fact they're listening to the podcast if they can't catch it live. And that they're excited for KaboomCon.
Hello, caller. Who's this and where are you calling from?
This is Scott, Sporkle Pop Quiz Master. Scott, sorry about that.
What are you doing to your phone, son?
I'm at work. I just got done closing work. I'm sorry about that.
So it is time for the Sporkle Pub Quiz with Scott, and joining us right now is Quizmaster Scott. How are you?
Doing good. How are you?
A little under the weather. Didn't know if you could tell. So
understandable.
So, to participate in the Sporkle Pub Quiz with Scott trivia, first off, anyone can participate. Quizmaster Scott will ask you a multiple-choice question and provide you with a list of possible answers. Call 775-515-4141. Welcome to the show, Scott, says Eric in Whittier, California. You can call 775-515-4141 with the correct answer, and you can win your choice of a prize. Guess the wrong answer, and we hang up on you, but quickly call back in before someone else and guess again and again and again. Each wrong answer will be removed until we have a winner with the correct answer, or the show ends, whichever comes first. You can't win unless you call, and you can't call unless you are listening to know what the question and possible answers are. So, what can you win tonight? We have 2 huge prizes you can choose from. You could get yourself a pair of tickets to Carson City's first ever pop culture and comic book convention, KaboomCon, taking place at the Carson City Community Center, Saturday, September 7th. I almost said 27th. Courtesy of 97 and Now Productions, or you can get yourself a pair of tickets for the advanced screening of Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire on Thursday, March 28th at 4 p.m. at the Galaxy Theaters in Carson City, courtesy of Galaxy Theaters. And so, what is the question this week, Scott?
The category is, of course, King Kong. And the question is, in 1966, British Studios Hammer Films considered producing a King Kong remake, going as far as hiring Ray Harryhausen to produce stop-motion animation test footage. While the movie was never filmed due to RKO's strict no remakes policy, the test footage was used in what car company's commercial? A, Toyota, B, Bentley, C, Volkswagen, D, Ford, or E, GM?
Okay. In 1966. Was that really that easy, Mark?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Mark says that was an easy one. He got that one like instantly. In 1966, British studio Hammer Films considered producing a King Kong remake, going as far as hiring Ray Harryhausen, the well-known stop-motion animator, to produce stop-motion animation test footage while the movie was never filmed due to RKO's strict no-remakes policy, which I wish they still had policies in place for like all of the movie companies, but anyway, I digress. The test footage was used in what car company's commercial? Is it A, Toyota, B, Bentley, C, Volkswagen, D, Ford, or E, General Motors, or GM? Call now, 775-515-4141 with your answer, and you can get yourself a pair of tickets for either KaboomCon or the pair of tickets for the advanced screening of Godzilla vs. Kong, or Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire. So, are you excited about that? We'll be talking about that one next week, for sure.
Very excited. I think it's funny, though, because I've seen like at least 9 final trailers.
I know. It's like every couple of hours, final trailer. There's been more final trailers for this movie than there's been Kiss farewell tours. So,
I mean, what's interesting? I don't know if they're going to have any of the old Toho monsters back. So we'll see.
I don't know. I saw a trailer with that spider with the Cthulhu face in it. So I don't know. They might. I don't know why they don't have Rodan in more of them, but he's been absent for. That would be incorrect, Eric. So, but keep trying.
What is the X?
I don't know. Because it was Godzilla V. So I guess they just keep going down the alphabet. I have no idea.
They skipped.
I think it just means team up. I've seen it in comic books before, in video games, especially video games.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay. You're not a gamer. That was the first thought that went through my mind when he said that. I've seen it in video games. I'm like, oh, really? I haven't. You're not a gamer.
I've seen it with Capcom X Street Fighter.
But wasn't they didn't team up? Wasn't it kind of against each other in that?
Yes.
Yeah, and I think there's going to be a battle between King Kong and Godzilla as well in this movie. So it's kind of like, I don't know.
I think it'll be interesting.
Decided to put X on there.
But yeah, so the New Empire. You know what? I am kind of I don't know why, but it seems like every trailer that I've seen with them, Godzilla and Kong are just beating the crap out of Scar King, so I don't think he's going to be much of a threat. No wonder they had to throw this.
Who's going to be the threat?
No wonder they had to throw Shamu in there. I mean Shamu. Shmoo? Shmo? Shmear. Remember the Shmoos from Herculoids?
Look like the little squeezy toys where the eyes beat out.
Oh, yeah. That's the way they look, too.
Nice.
Yeah, you got it. Okay, Scott. Well, thank you very much, sir, and I look forward to the... since you're the foremost expert on Godzilla, I can't wait to hear what the question next week is going to be about Godzilla.
Oh, great. Sounds good. And good luck to the listeners.
All right. Thank you, sir. And have a good evening. So if you want to take a shot at getting either a pair of tickets for KaboomCon on September 7th or those Godzilla X Kong, The New Empire advanced screening tickets for March 28th at 4 p.m. at Galaxy Theaters in Carson City, 775-515-4141. No, Eric, that is incorrect. At least from what I know, that is incorrect. Right now, we got to take a little bit of a break. When we come back, more Pop Culture Kaboom's radio show. We still got Tony Sanfilippo coming up. We still got our big interview with Blothar the Berserker from GWAR. So all kinds of show, plus news, and everything else. So don't go anywhere. More Pop Culture Kaboom's radio show right after this. Welcome back to Pop Culture Kaboom's radio show. Everything you want, everything you need in pop culture entertainment. Some upcoming stuff to keep your eye on. You can subscribe to the Dreamwell Comics YouTube channel. Co-owner and manager of Dreamwell Comics, Robert Page, and I recorded the very first episode of Dreamwell Comics Shop Chatter with Robert and Jimmy this past week and a half now. And among other things, I have been working very hard to get the episode up in a timely manner. Believe it or not, I'm almost done with it. I just got to like some more graphics to throw in there and then just get it all cleaned up.
Shop Chatter.
Shop Chatter. Subscribe now and you will be notified when episode 1 will be available for you to view. And interesting topics that we had on there, so wait till you check them out. May 4th is coming up quick, and it is Free Comic Book Day. Dreamwell Comics will be celebrating Free Comic Book Day with a 2-day extravaganza, Saturday, May 4th and Sunday, May 5th. And, of course, Pop Culture Kaboom's radio show will be a part of the festivities. I will be at Dreamwell Comics 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. Saturday, May 4th. And since Free Comic Book Day falls on May the 4th, also known as Star Wars Day, yeah. So anyone who is at Dreamwell Comics while I am there, dressed in their best Star Wars cosplay, I will give them a special gift.
How about this? How about the best gets 2 tickets to KaboomCon?
Oh, well, there you go. I'll up the bell. So the best Star Wars. Well, hold on. There's more.
Uh-oh.
So that might be an option, or I'll just give them away that night.
Okay.
Or not that night, but Sunday night. Because the very next day, Sunday, May 5th, I will be there from 2 to 6 p.m. again. But May 5th is commonly referred to as Revenge of the Sith.
Revenge of the 5th.
Yeah. So cosplay as your favorite Dark Lord. And I will have a special gift for you. Then stick around to be a part of the live audience, as Dreamwell Comics will remain open from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. for a special in-store broadcast of Pop Culture Kaboom's radio show from 6 to 9 p.m. So come down and be a part of the live audience, and the best Dark Lord cosplay.
Absolutely.
We'll get a pair of tickets to KaboomCon. How about that?
My cat when I was younger was Dark Lord Fatness.
Dark Lord Fatness?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, I still, when I create characters in video games, I very often will name them Dark Lord Fatness.
Wow. Interesting. That's actually very amusing. And speaking of, there are now only 174 days until Carson City, Nevada's first ever pop culture and comic book convention, KaboomCon. 97 and Out Productions will be putting on KaboomCon Saturday, September 7th, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. You can follow KaboomCon on Facebook to keep up with details on all of the vendors. Sign up for the art contest and the cosplay contest. Keep up on all the activity announcements and panels that will be taking place throughout the day, and special guest announcements from KaboomCon 2024. A limited number of pre-sale tickets are on sale. Are they still available?
They are moving significantly faster than anticipated. As I've been talking about over on my show, I would highly recommend not waiting until day of, because there might not be anything there.
Well, there'd be something there, just not the tickets for you to.
Well, there will be an event. You just might not be able to get inside.
See what I'm saying? Okay, there we go. So they are on sale through Eventbrite.com. A portion of the proceeds from KaboomCon will go to Cold Nose Rescue and Sanctuary in Mount House and KNVC 95.1 FM Community Radio. I don't usually talk about my personal life on the show, but just so everybody knows how much I do support these organizations. Hey, you're listening to part of it. The other part of it is Cold Nose Rescue and Sanctuary in Mount House. 3 months ago, I got a dog because my dog of 11 years had to have it was that time because all of his medical issues. But I now have a rescue dog. He is a true rescue dog because no idea how old he really is. He's like, the vet guesstimates between 1 and 2.
Okay.
That's the best they can give me. I have had him now for 3 months. And will affectionately from this day forward be known as Sharky the Shark Dog because, yeah. So if you hear me mention Sharky the Shark Dog, I am talking about my dog because he is literally, I don't know what it is. I will have a toy and I'm playing with him, and I'll throw the toy. He'll go get it. He'll bring it back, play with him a little bit more, play it, throw it. He'll watch it land, then he'll turn around and go after my hands. Yeah, I don't get it.
I think you're not feeding him enough, perhaps.
No, he's getting enough food. He's just Sharky the Shark Dog. He likes to chew things. So apparently, this is the one that I had him for 12 hours, and he literally bit so hard that he folded a tennis ball in half and swallowed it.
Oh wow!
Yeah, $3,000 vet bill later.
Yeah, that's a nice little chunk of change.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and here was the funniest part: we've had him for 12 hours. We hadn't even fed him yet, and so we're taking him to the vet. We think he swallowed a tennis ball.
Yeah, how did the vet react to that? Is that something they've seen often?
Yes, actually, surprisingly, to find out that is something that happens quite a bit. So, never give your dog small objects, apparently, because they tend to swallow things. But anyway, so, and the questions the vet was asking was kind of weird. It was like, okay, we just got this dog last night at 7 o'clock. We haven't even had him 12 hours yet. And so, but apparently he swallowed a tennis ball. And okay, so what do you usually feed him? We hadn't fed him yet, so I'm like, Kong? I don't know what to answer here. He ate a Kong. That's all I know.
Oh, man.
So.
That's a terrible conversation in day one.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, puppy ate lots, actually. So, all right. So we've been seeing the Energon universe, Robert Kirkman's shared universe, launching late June from Image and Skybound, featuring the Transformers, G.I. Joe, and his newly created Void Rivals, dominating Marvel and DC's biggest releases, both in our reporting and on Amazon's own digital rankings, turning the big two into the big two and a bit. That makes no sense. Not only has Skybound, I guess somebody was trying to go for a joke there, but I guess they epic fail. Not only has Skybound set a G.I. Joe franchise sales record and sold 150,000 copies of the brand new franchise in Void Rivals #1, but Transformers #1 set the record for the highest launching Hasbro Comics series ever, with more than 200,000 copies sold to date. But now the Energon universe has achieved a sales record that few comics will ever reach. It has sold over 1 million copies in less than a year, more like 9 months to be precise, and that's been driven by Kirkman, Elrond, and Lorenzo de Felici's Void Rivals, Daniel Warren Johnson's Transformers, and Joshua Williamson's G.I. Joe-related launches in Duke and Cobra Commander, that not only launched all at record-setting levels, but have consistently seen sales growing with each issue in recent months over and over. You know why?
Please do tell.
Good storytelling.
What?
No, I know. It's quite
not just rebooting and rehashing old things, but actual new.
I know it feels like 1980 again when you're talking about G.I. Joe and Transformers and the comic books and the toys and all that, but no, good actual stories. And that's what's driving them. I mean, I haven't heard anybody complain once about the storytelling. So
that's half the battle.
Okay. Oh, I wish I had a drum kit right now, just so I could do the rim shot. Anyway, where was I? It doesn't hurt that retailers are continually selling out of these series. They are, actually. If you go down to Dreamwell Comics, they are literally, you have to get them that day. Yeah, someone is writing good stories, Eric. He's impressed, too. Go check them out. You should go check these comic books out because they are actually really good. the series with every issue of Void Rivals, Transformers, Cobra Commander, and Duke all going back to print multiple times, even with Image and Skybound rushing back new prints on a constant basis with no allocations. In fact, Void Rivals #1 is on its 7th printing.
Oh, my.
Yep. And seems on track for a record-setting 10th printing, something we have rarely seen in the modern comics industry, but will even that be enough to make the demand of the new readers that comic book shops are seeing every week? Now, with the announcement of 2 new Energon Universe series, including Kelly Thompson and Marco Ferrari's Scarlet and Dan Waters and Adrienne Berson's, I totally messed that up, Destro, the Energon Universe seems to on track to break through the near impossible 2 million units mark by the end of 2024.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Along the way to making more comic history, will Scarlet and Destro become the newest Image and Skybound releases to outsell Amazing Spider-Man and Batman? I'm told that much of the discussion from retailers at the recent Comics Pro annual event centered around the success of the Energon universe and challenging both Marvel and DC to bring similar results with their global franchises. That includes bringing back the collectors we saw fueling industry growth just years ago, who have clearly stayed around for the Energon universe high ratio variants, such as David Mack's 1 in 250 Cobra Commander #1, seeing no drop in value at $350 months later, or a 1 in 100 John Boy Myers Duke #1 variant selling for nearly $250. Even the Transformers #1 second printing by Jason Howard is seeing grade sales at over $150, numbers that haven't been seen in years on modern reprints outside of Miles Morales' first appearance. So, yay. You know what the 1 in 250 means?
I'm not sure.
So what a retailer has to do is order 250 units to get that one cover variant.
Oh, wow.
So, or and the 1 in 100, same thing.
Sure.
Order 100 to get that one. Yeah, Dynamite Entertainment is the worst when it comes to that stuff, because they will literally release, on average, depending on how popular they think the comic book is going to be, it is not unheard of for them to have like 30 comic variants, and some of them are just, you have to like order 500 cell units to get that one variant. So
yeah, that to me, it's getting to the point of almost ludicrous. I was hoping if I said his name he would appear, but he didn't.
It's because you didn't sing a car insurance jingle at the time.
Like a good neighbor. So for me, I don't have a problem with the comic book variant covers. I think that's cool. There's collector's value potentially, but when you get over, I don't know, what's the number? 4? Is it a little ridiculous? Like, what's the point of having 30 different variants?
No idea. None. I have no idea at all. That baffles my mind. Oh, and here's the thing: Dynamite wanted to do for Robert and I talked about this. Vampirilla, issue number 666. They wanted to do 666 variant covers.
And the reason that I ask is, I'm getting into the comic book game, right? We're at 97 Now Productions creating a comic book for Murphy's Inc. And, I'm working with the fabulous dynamic duo, father-son, the Iriartes, but we've had conversations like, should we do variants? And the question for me is, why? Why do we need to do variants? I don't know. And, you're the guru for me. So what do you think? Is there value? Is there a reason? If the content inside those pages is the same, what's the value of the variant cover? Is it purely so that you get it graded and throw it in a case, or
making it harder to get than a normal copy? So that's why you have to order like 250, or a retailer has to order 250 to get that one. So to make it something that makes it worthwhile. Plus, they also use a lot of the popular comic cover artists at the time to do the cover art. So it's not like they're the normal cover artist for the series. They're coming in special just to do that variant and you have to get that quantity to get that variant with that person's. Like Todd McFarlane has done variant covers before. Peach Mokyo has done variant covers before for different comic books. And you can go down the list. Rob with Thundercats. Rob Liefeld actually did a variant cover for issue number 2.
Mm-hmm.
So that's part of the whole thing of it, is getting a very popular artist to do a cover that would be really hard to get, or harder to get than the normal one. And it also kind of prompts people to get both, actually, because a serious collector will want the variant and also the original. More likely they'll frame or get graded the variant, but they'll read the original. So
you see there being, as a collector, you see there being value.
As long as it's not crazy, yeah.
So what is crazy? Is it for
250? But that's kind of, you want to sell comic books and all that, but so like you're a creator, you want people to your comic book out there.
Mm-hmm.
You want to sell a lot of them, because by selling a lot of them, you're going to make some money at it, so that you can continue making more. Right, and it shows that people are interested in what you're doing, so you want to continue that. So, for an unknown comic book, I would probably go with a run of like 1 in 5, 1 in 10,
Mm-hmm.
something like that, just to kind of spur in interest. Also, doing a Kickstarter, because comic books and Kickstarters right now are very, very lucrative for companies. There's still, even now, Dynamite and a lot of the bigger named companies, they still go to the Kickstarter to get fund interest into comic books, so that they know that there's the interest out there to do it. So
I will take this all into account. Thank you.
Okay. Accounting class it is. So according to the news breaking out of the South by Southwest panel that I talked about last week, following the Karokian age, we will have 3 main X-Men series. So small, medium, and large, apparently. Uncanny X-Men, regular-sized X-Men, and the Exceptional X-Men as the core ongoing series. Relaunching as part of the X-Men from the Ashes. Notably, these are definitively different to the rumored X-Men comics as reported last week, but not entirely different, are they? Marvel executive editor SVO and X-Men group editor Tom Brevoort has promised that X-Men from the Ashes will put the X-Men characters back in the real world with non-mutants. Okay. Something that the Karokia age deliberately eschewed. Oh, and he wants X-Men readers to cry every month when reading. Okay.
So does that mean he's planning to kill a bunch off? Or?
I hope that means that he doesn't plan on having bad stories, because that'd make me cry every week if I went to read the X-Men and it was just a bad story after bad story. So that's all I got to say about that. And DC has been having problems, lots and lots of problems. Not only with just having bad art, but bad stories, but now delays on top of that too. And Bleeding Cool has been following the increased delays to the Justice Society of America series for the last year. The first issue of Jeff Johns and Mikel Janin was released in November of 2022 as a monthly spin-out of Flashpoint Beyond the Golden Age and Stargirl. Okay, launching the new Golden Age titles at DC Comics, which included Wesley Knobs' The Sandman, which was like, not the Sandman Neil Gaiman's Sandman, but like going back to like 1950s Sandman.
Right.
Jay Garrick, The Flash, and Alan Scott, Green Lantern. A number of these titles have been late too, but nothing as late as the Justice Society of America, which has seen issues delayed, canceled, resolicited, and then delayed again. The latest news is that the most recent solicited Justice Society of America number 11 for April has now had all its orders from retailers canceled, and it will be resolicited for June.
So only another 2-month delay.
No doubt. Justice Society of America number 10 is now solicited for the date that number 11 was meant to have been out, which is the 16th of April. In related slippage news, Justice Society of America number 9 was rescheduled for the 21st of November, and then from the 11th of November, and then from the 23rd of January, and then for the 30th of January, and then for the 6th of February, and now the 20th of February, and then the 12th of March, and now the 19th of March. Yeah. So, supposedly this week at some point.
That's painful.
Yeah. What are they doing over there at DC?
Hopefully you're not somebody that's been super invested into the storyline, and that is one of the downsides to traditional comic books, and when there are delays, especially if you are somebody that, you know, is super enjoying the content and then a delay.
Well, see, back in the day when Image Comics first started, they were phenomenally horrible at getting books out on time, but they got better, and there's no excuse for DC being this late. DC has been one of the cornerstones of the industry forever.
There is a reason that I've heard the rumblings that the Big Two does not involve necessarily DC anymore.
No, they're on their way down. And the life's game of chutes and ladders, they've hit the big slide.
Yeah, they're heading back to the number 8 spot.
And it's, yeah. You want to do that like a little
slide whistle?
Yeah, oh yeah. They are beside themselves. Yeah, they're clinging on for dear life as they go down that slide. Before television, before podcasts. Oh, am I in the right spot? I am not. I skipped ahead. Well, let's skip ahead. This is for you anyway. Before television, before podcast, there were radio plays produced by the BBC. The BBC, the broadcast transmitted their first play in 1924, which means they've been making radio plays for over 100 years now, and have broadcast radio dramas every day of the week ever since. The U.S. has only just rediscovered audio drama in the 2000s and is particularly reinventing the wheel and producing them as streamable podcasts. Many major British playwrights and screenwriters got their start writing radio plays for the BBC. It has been a training ground for new writers for generations, and some of the radio plays are considered classics of the form. Many of them were lost because the BBC didn't keep the original recordings. Bad, BBC, bad. Until now over 1,000 radio plays have been returned to the BBC archives by the Radio Circle, a group of radio enthusiasts and collectors made up of reels and home recordings sent. Really, in 1924, people were doing home recordings back then?
Yep.
Interesting. I can only imagine the size of the equipment in the house to do that.
Oh, you're talking about, you know, a room the size of the house. You know, it probably is its own standalone shed. And as an audio drama producer, I've loved radio drama since I was a kid, and you know, a lot of the stuff I grew up with was not the BBC, right? I grew up with Abbott and Costello, and I'm not that old, folks, but you know, my father had the old time radio cassettes, and so I listened to Great Gildersleeve and The Shadow and
The Shadow Knows,
right? Lone Ranger. I mean, you know, there were a ton of great serials back in the, you know, 30s,
Flash
40s.
Gordon.
Absolutely. And, you know, when I started getting into the audio drama game, I went back and I started listening to a lot of those for inspiration, and started listening to some BBC stuff, which is, it's painful, especially if you listen to a lot of the older stuff, because the accents are so thick. You're spending more time trying to figure out what they're saying.
That's me with anything that's from actually the BBC.
Yeah. It's gotten better, you know, over the last 100 years. If you listen to something more recent, a lot of the time you're able to actually get through it without having to replay and figure out, wait, what did they say?
Mm-hmm. You know, it's kind of interesting. There's a linguist who basically said that if you go back in time, if you were to time travel, what would be the furthest point you could go back and still be able to communicate with humans back then? And even in the English-speaking world, the most you could probably go back is 400 years.
Really?
Yep. And before, what they're saying and what you're saying just does not make sense to each other.
Because while it might
Even
be
with
English, ours is so muddied at this point.
Well, just language over the course of time changes. And so, I mean, even with German, believe it or not. So I guess you could take any language and go back, and you can only go back maybe like 400 years and still be able to communicate with people.
So the lifespan of a language is around that, huh?
Yep.
Interesting.
I know. I thought it was. But anyway, I'm weird like that. The BBC Archives by the Radio Circle Group, blah, 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 made up of reels and home recordings sent in by members of the public. BBC Radio 4 Extra, and Radio 3 will celebrate their return to the archive with a season of special broadcasts of the recordings, including Macbeth, which, when it was first broadcast in 1971, was the first ever stereo production of the play. The season also includes adaptations of works by Charles Dickens, Willie Collins, Edgar Wallace, Kingsley Amis, and J.M. Barrie, the creator of Peter Pan. Radio 4 will also celebrate the BBC archives by broadcasting 2 plays by giants of 20th century literature, Harold Pinter and Dennis Potter, which have not been heard on BBC Radio since their original broadcast in the early 1980s. The Radio Circle identified and restored recordings that belonged to members of the public who recorded them for private use on their personal tape recorders during the original live broadcast. Most recordings in the collection are of programs. Oh, they don't put program like we do here. That's the extra M and the ES on the end. Which were not already in they use the King's English and not already in the archives, which makes this discovery special. The BBC archives have evolved significantly over the course of the BBC's history. In its early days, they were significant obstacles to keeping permanent recordings, including cost, copyright issues, and a culture that saw radio as a live medium never to be repeated. But much progress has been made. The BBC now archives all output from its network stations, and the archive currently spans multiple collections. The focus is now to bring these collections together into one unified back catalog, and the discovery of these additional recordings by the Record Circle is an excellent addition to this resource. All right, so that means it is the top of the hour. It is currently 58 degrees and sunny here in Carson City. And we'll be back with movies with Mr. Tony Sanfilippo, but don't go anywhere because we got that as well as our big interview with the GWAR frontman, Blothar, the Berserker. So lots of more show to come, so don't go anywhere. And we'll be right back after this. Welcome back to Pop Culture Kaboom's radio show. Everything you want, everything you need in pop culture entertainment. And we kind of stepped a little bit too far ahead with the movies. So to recap, these are the movies we talked about last week that are coming out this week. So A Late Night with the Devil, I gave it a good, Tony gave it a blah, and Rob gave it a good. The Animal Kingdom, Rob gave it a blah, or good, I gave it a blah, and Tony gave it a touch brown. Peter 5-8. I gave it a blah, Tony gave it a blah, and Rob gave it a touch brown. The Prank, Rob gave it a blah, Tony and I gave it touch browns. And Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, which is coming out this Friday, we all gave it goods. So that is the movies, a kind of a recap of last week's for this week, if you can follow that time travel logic. Anyway, Tony, how are you?
I'm doing good, buddy. How are you doing?
I'm getting over being sick, as you can probably hear in my voice.
Oh, yeah, a little bit. You sound a little different, but not much.
Oh, that's good. It's because I'm chugging coffee, and every chance I get here to kind of try and keep everything kind of warm and loose, I guess, in my
Moving
throat.
around.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, that kind of sounds disgusting. Never mind. Anyway, so we're going to do things a little different. Next week, we'll be talking about the movies that'll be coming out, and we got some 5 good ones for us. We got Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2 coming out.
Woo-hoo-hoo.
Godzilla x Kong, The New Empire, which obviously will have the 400-ton gorilla. In the Land of Saints and Sinners, Bag of Lies, and The Wages of Fia. So we got some movie stuff to talk about. I mentioned earlier that Den of Geeks put out an article revealing that there's 121 movie remakes and reboots in some stage of development. And we're going to try and cover as many as we can in 30 minutes. But we're not going to dedicate the entire show to all 121, though there are some interesting ones. I sent you a partial list just to kind of, bait things. So what do you think of that list?
This is, let's see, I'm opening it now.
I see that you have like The Crow, Red Sonja, or Sonya, whatever you want to call it, Final Destination. There's definitely some good ones. I mean, this definitely screams that Hollywood's out of ideas, right? They're going back to old ones, just kind of re-envisioning it.
Yeah, which is ridiculous. Oh, by the way, so did you get to see the Crow trailer yet?
I watched the Crow trailer. It looks different. I don't know if I would have called that the Crow. You know, I would have just kind of made it my own type of movie. He looks way different. The premise of it looks cool. I mean, it does look interesting. I wouldn't have straight up just called it the Crow.
No.
You know what I mean?
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of that whole Total Recall remake with Colin Farrell. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, with Jessica Biel. And
which it was nothing like Total Recall. They should have just called it something. That's what they're doing here. This should not be the Crow.
So do you think they're just tagging the name on so that it'll have a built-in audience?
Oh, yeah. They're hoping.
Yeah, for sure.
But see, the thing that everybody seems to miss about why the Crow is so popular, it had the best soundtrack ever. You had The Cure, you had Stone Temple Pilots, you had 9 Inch Nails. It was the absolute best movie soundtrack ever. So, and this movie, even though it has Ozzy singing a song in the trailer, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be in the movie, or that they're going to. I hope they don't try and compete with the soundtrack from that movie, because that was the best one ever.
Well, at least their lead survived, so that's always a huge plus.
Yeah, this is true. Yeah.
Wow. That's a little
dark,
I
can remember watching the first one. Was it like 94?
Yep. 1994.
I remember seeing that at the movie theater on Highway 50. It doesn't exist anymore, but there used to be, I think there's that Capriati sandwich place. It was like an A&W, and there was like a Scolari's, and there was a little theater right in between there. I remember seeing The Crow there as a kid, and I thought it was awesome. You know, the sequels I didn't really care for too much, but
nobody did.
That original one with Brandon Lee was it was incredible. And this new one, aside from the font of the title of The Crow, that looks exactly the same, but everything else looks different about it. And again, the movie, if you will go and watch the trailer, if you're listening, it actually looks pretty cool. I just wish, like you said, I wish they would do something different, just call it something different.
I mean, I'm still trying to figure out why they made him go from looking like Eric Draven with the kind of the long hair and the trench coat to just the trench coat. And what's with the Jared Leto Joker tattoo?
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was totally thinking Justice League Joker there.
He even sounded like him.
It's hard. It's hard to look at him too, because like that's the one of the Skarsgårds that was Pennywise in It remakes. So that's what I see. I see Pennywise again.
Pennywise with Joker tattoos. All right.
Yeah.
Oh boy. And I really don't understand this trailer at all. He's like, "What's the worst thing you've ever?" And he tries to sound like the Joker. "What's the worst thing you've ever done?" You know. And then she's like, "I've seen things." Well, that's not really the worst thing you've done. That's just something that's happened that you've seen. So that really didn't make any sense either. But if this was anything else, it would have been an okay movie. You could almost say that this is like a what-if version of the origin of Deadpool, for all I care.
I feel like tagging the name was actually a detraction.
Yeah. They shouldn't have ever. This should not be called The Crow.
No.
And it should not be Eric and Shelley Draven either. So it should have been. I mean, the Crow, if you read the comic book, the source material, there was different Crows. There was different people who became the Crow. They should have just went with one of them and not tried to read. I'm trying to not get myself kicked off FCC regulated radio right now. And as Mark reaches for the dump button.
He's like, hit it. No, I'm with you. It's one of those, like, you could still keep that franchise relevant, but you just take a different story and go a different route with it. You could, you can still call it The Crow, but maybe add a different title under it. Like, for example, tonight we watched Ghostbusters Afterlife. So it wasn't like Ghostbusters Part 3 or 4. It was just Ghostbusters Afterlife. And they told a different story, but yet they still tie the original source material to make it a good movie. And when you're trying to just completely reboot it and completely try to retell the story that you already know, it doesn't fare too well. I can't actually think of a time where it fared well.
Well, and here's the thing: is like, speaking of the Joker, they've had various people play the Joker over the last 100 years, in various things. You had Cesar Romero in the Batman TV show.
The best.
You had Jack Nicholson, Heath Ledger. You could have done the Brandon Lee thing. He died, shortly after not during the filming, but shortly after the filming. You could have left it at that and never had anybody play the Joker again, but that would not make any sense. The Crow, Eric Draven Crow, was only played by Brandon Lee.
Mm-hmm.
No one else ever. Even the movies, they did like the graphic novels and the comic book. They followed different people that became the Crow. So that's where they kind of lost me on the whole thing. So I don't know. And that's where it's just, why didn't they just go with something else? And they pick this thing, and it was just embarrassing. So there's a list of movies on here that I have absolutely no idea why on God's green earth they're even being thought of being redone. Like Cliffhanger. Cliffhanger starring Sylvester Stallone. Back in 1993. They want to remake that.
That was an amazing video game. I will say that.
It was?
No, I'm it was a video game.
It was?
It was.
I do remember. Yeah, it was a game based off the movie,
mm-hmm.
and I never played it, but I do remember it on Super Nintendo.
Wow.
I had it on the Sega.
Yeah.
The Naked Gun we've already talked about, starring Leslie Nielsen. Yeah. I don't know how they plan on. And then if you think about
they're doing it with Liam Neeson in the reboot, right? That's what I read.
Yeah, they are.
Because he's so well known for his comedy.
Oh, I know, right?
Yeah, he's so hilarious. I will give him this. At least he's stepping out of his, because he's like boxed into the same role ever since Taken, right? He's done the same movie over and over and over.
I will go watch
this.
Called it
a billion different things.
I will go watch this if they bring back O.J. Simpson.
They won't. Oh, I know they won't. I just don't see how they can honestly make any kind of a decent movie now this day and age. I mean, we're talking the original was 1988, back when the social climate was way, way different than it is now.
Yeah.
I mean...
Well, I think that those movies like The Naked Guns or Hot Shots, those types of weird slapstick, spoofy movies, I mean, that was kind of like Leslie Nielsen's. That was like his thing.
Oh, he was a great straight man.
Yeah, and it worked for him. Those were the type of stuff like Spy Hard and all that. Those movies of like the
National
80s
Lampoon
and 90s.
still get made today.
What?
I just don't.
National
Don't
Lampoons.
see that.
What about it?
The concept of National Lampoons and all the different films they make, they still get made today.
But they're garbage.
They
they don't own a candle to the original.
I think if they're going to do that too, like why not go with somebody that's not super well known and maybe try it? I don't know. I just don't see these being like big theater type movies. It's kind of like Roadhouse. Roadhouse is being reboot with Jake Gyllenhaal, and that's on Prime. But do we need to see remakes of these? I know remakes have been happening for years and years, and it's just...
Well, here's one that I cannot grasp for the life of me. Every Which Way But Loose, which was released in 1978 with Clint Eastwood. That is being remade.
A monkey.
Yeah. Was it Clyde?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Clyde the orangutan. So, and that one's being redone. I have no idea why.
This
that
time
baffles
it'll
me
be a
beyond
robot.
Yeah, that'd be interesting, actually. Then I would watch it. Bloodsport with originally starred Jean-Claude Van Damme. That's being remade.
Who are they going to get in that one?
I have no idea. No idea why they would even remake this thing either. It's something that's been talked about being remade, a live action remake actually, for almost as long as it's been around, is Akira, which actually is what introduced pretty much American audiences to Japanese anime in a big way. So that one's still being touted around as being in production, or pre-production or some sort of development. That could be interesting with modern day technology, but do we?
Yeah, that one could work because you're going from a classic anime to trying to make it live action. I'm sure you could do it. Whether it's good or not, that'll remain to be seen. But yeah, I could see that one being made. But I see it on this list too, like Ace Ventura. Really?
Yeah, Ace Ventura.
And I'm sorry, I know Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls, the second one. It had its moments, but for me personally, I definitely didn't like it as much as the first one. The first one was funny. It was classic. It was for what it was. I think that was a 94, 95 flick. I enjoyed it for that time period, but the second one, I didn't like it as much. I don't
think anybody did,
and that's why there wasn't a third.
Yeah, but
there was a nice cliffhanger callback to the beginning with him and that raccoon or whatever.
I never saw. I saw the first one in the theater. The only thing I laughed at was Sean Young's performance at the end when she was standing there all going crazy and stuff. That was the only time I laughed. That when he chloroformed the guy running around the track. Those were the only two times I laughed at that entire movie. So, and that's why
I just don't see anybody doing that, and I sure as heck don't see Jim Carrey at this stage in life doing that. So,
no, he's gotten too philosophical,
and he's retired anyway.
Way.
Another dumb one that I can't figure out, and this one I really can't figure out because I don't know what their context is. They want to redo or reboot or remake Flash Gordon, but that's all it really said was that they're redoing Flash Gordon, but they didn't specify if it was the 1936 Flash Gordon or if it was the 1980 Flash Gordon with Sam Jones. So,
something tells me you're going to see Seth MacFarlane attached to that.
I hope not,
because he is a huge fan, and it gets brought up in every show that he has done and produced, and so it wouldn't surprise me if he's attached.
Well, if he is, it might. I just don't want Peter Griffin jokes in there, and so that's why I'd never liked when the first episode of what was that Star Trek?
Orville?
Yeah, I watched it and I was like, okay, it's like a live action Family Guy in space, and it was just the dumbest jokes that made absolutely no sense to me in the time frame that they're supposed to be taking place. So I thought it was just goofy. And never watched it again. Here's one that really will blow everybody's mind and baffle philosophers for decades. They want to redo the 1976 Car Wash that had Richard Pryor in it.
Didn't they already kind of do one like that, like with Ice Cube, or no, was it Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre did something like that?
I have no idea.
And we don't.
I want to say when we worked
like
at the video store, Jimmy, I think something like that came out. I could be wrong.
Hey,
stupid movie.
You know what? It's not like one of those things that nobody's ever kind of like tried to scrape some kind of a credit off of. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those movies where somebody's redone it somehow in the past and kind of put their own, but they never really directly said we're going to remake the Car Wash by Richard Pryor.
Yeah, that just sounds like a dumb idea. Somebody passing that around. You're with the creative team trying to come up with movie ideas at the studio. Oh, I got an idea. Let's bring back Car Wash from 1976.
You know what? And you think 1980s was bad with their political incorrectness. Whoa, you get into the 70s.
And there was a film
called The Wash.
The Wash with Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg.
There you go.
Okay.
But not directly.
Yeah, I knew there was something similar.
2001
that came out at some point.
So let me see what else.
2001.
Yep. Yeah. Let me see some
other
other ridiculous.
Past our video store career.
Some other ridiculous things. Flight of the Navigator. I've heard of this one being tossed around before. So.
That with modern day technology and stuff could be good.
I never saw the original,
Maybe.
so I'm completely indifferent to that one. I don't.
Yeah, that's the young Matthew Broderick from the 80s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
86.
I'm indifferent to that one. I
think
care less.
That one might be one of those rare ones where it might work. It might find an audience.
Yeah.
But I'm like you, Jimmy. I just know one of the little spaceships they used is down in Tomorrowland at Disneyland.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's Worldland or World. one of them has I think it is land. They have one of the spaceships they used in the movie there.
Here's one that I just don't understand at all. The Birds from 1963, Alfred Hitchcock. That's being remade for some unknown reason. I have no idea
as long
why.
as they refilm it at Bodega Bay, right?
Bodega Bay? I don't know.
Bodega Bay. I remember going there with family a couple years ago. We went there, and that was their big pool. They filmed the birds there.
Yes, Eric, The Last Starfighter is on the list, but there's so much to talk about. And we only got 9 more minutes with Mr. Sanfilippo. Let me see what else. The Chronicles of Narnia are getting yet another reboot, which is, I don't understand that. Final Destination 6 Bloodlines is going to be a franchise reboot, I guess. I mean, but at least they're moving forward, I guess. You know,
I think that's one. That's like your trope horror film franchise where you can make a bazillion of these little movies, and there's some type of audience for it. Like, the premise is, can you ever stop death? No. I'm sure they'll find some more wicked ways to kill.
Yeah, I know. They come up with the most creative ways to die that I've ever seen. Like, what was one of the scenes in one of them where a plate fell, or the window was partially open, and the breeze blew a plate off a thing, which caused a thing to fall, and this thing hit another thing, for a rusty fish hook to go in the guy's hand.
It's like a Rube Goldberg device.
Yeah, it's like what?
Yeah.
The consequences that
it was. Always creative ones. The one that always stood out in my mind, and I think about it whenever I go to Washington to see family, is when you see the tree logs on the back of the flatbed. Like, that's the most famous one. You look at that and you're like, oh, no, I've seen Final Destination 2. I'm good. I'm not following that thing.
Yeah, I'm going to be way
That was a pretty wicked opening. Yeah. Whew.
Yeah, that was probably the best opening of any of those horror movies, quite honestly.
Oh, I agree. You know, because the first one, it was the plane and the whole plane exploding and all that. You're like, oh, that's crazy. But the second one, just the logs and that big car crash, you're just like, holy cow.
You know why? Because not everybody will get on a plane. And even if you are on a plane, the likelihood of something going wrong are slim and none. Mm-hmm. But everybody's been on the road every day. Yeah. And everybody's seen those log trucks.
Yeah, and it ties to that movie well. So, you know, good for them trying to make another one. The title of it's kind of stupid. Bloodline.
Yeah, that makes no sense.
They're trying to bite into WWE with, Roman Reigns and his bloodline.
Oh.
Maybe that
Final Destination 6 starring The Rock.
Yes, that might be exactly it.
Yeah.
Now it all makes sense. So Salem's Lot, speaking of remakes, started as a Max original and will end up as a Max original after a confusing road to get there. The remake will indeed debut on Max, but we only know it will be in 2024. Yes, there is still no release date for the film, directed by Gary Doberman, who also wrote the film and executive produced. It stars Lewis Pullman, Mackenzie Lee, Bill Camp, a name I can't pronounce, another name I can't pronounce, and William Sadler. Stephen King himself has seen the film and seemed to like it. And after so many starts and stops, many thought we might never see it. It is hilarious that they randomly sent out a press blast saying the film would be released in 2024 on Max, but still not provided release date.
Yeah, that's usually red flag for developmental hell. A lot of reshoots, a lot of stuff, and just put it on streaming. I don't know. I was going to say before you said it was going to go to Max and just be this strictly streaming, lately the Stephen King stuff has done pretty well. The reboots like Pet Sematary, the first one, reboot seemed to do pretty well, and those ones did well. So I guess that's just trying to ride the train,
I guess. I didn't think Salem's Lot needed another reboot. I mean, there was the original movie, then they did that TV series, and now they're doing another movie. So
what about a Maximum Overdrive reboot? Everybody needs those cars that turn on, the big Green Goblin semi truck.
No, I mean, the only thing that movie had going for it was the Green Goblin on the front of it, Marvel ripoff thing. the
Yeah.
AC/DC song "Who Made Who," and Emilio Estevez in it. I mean, those were the only things that movie really had going for it, you know.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I remember the seeing the CD at the pawn shops, the soundtrack for Maximum Overdrive by AC/DC.
Yeah. Oh boy. So the fourth time we've heard Patty Jenkins' Star Wars film is back on some form of development. It's like either someone at Lucasfilm Disney doesn't know what to do with it, or maybe some parts of the greater press media don't want it to
is this
happen.
a Rogue Squadron movie?
Yep.
No one wants to see it.
Sure, we were disappointed by Wonder Woman 1984, even more so when it was revealed. Patty Jenkins pretty much had autonomy from Warner Brothers Pictures to do whatever she wanted with it, and she came up with that. But still, we still bring ourselves to watch it again? No. Rogue Squadron was first announced back in 2020 with a release date of 2023. Obviously, that didn't happen. And the film has been on again, off again, several times in the resulting years. But Jenkins has remained optimistic that when the time was right, it would happen. In a recent chat with TCM host extraordinaire Ben McKenna, Jenkins revealed, I can't pronounce his name, so I might as well mess it completely up. Jenkins revealed that she's back on doing Rogue Squadron for Lucasfilms. And she says, and I quote, "When I left Star Wars to start working on Wonder Woman 3, I started thinking, okay, maybe I'll come back to Star Wars after Wonder Woman 3. So we did a deal for that to happen." She said, but when Wonder Woman 3 went away, Lucasfilm and I were like, oh, we've got to finish this deal, which we finished right as the strike was happening. So I now owe a draft of Star Wars, and we'll see what happens. Who knows? They have a hard time in front of them of what's the first movie they're going to do. They have other directors, but I'm back on doing Rogue Squadron, so I'll see what happens. We need to get it to where we're both happy with it.
Well, I'm sold.
You got to get it to where the audience
all
is
that
going to.
is making me super excited to see this.
No, see that's the kind of conversation that goes to the heart of the problem. You don't want to get it to where you're both happy with it. You want to get it to where the audience is going to be happy with it, and that is what has been missing out of this.
It sounds like at this point, if they're going to go forward with this is probably suited better for like a Disney Plus show, like a short-lived series or something. I mean, come on, if you weren't going to put like Obi-Wan Kenobi as a movie and you did that as a show, your probably safest bet is to do that with this Rogue Squadron movie. I don't think that's going to knock the socks off any fan that wants to go to the theater to see that.
I definitely wouldn't. I mean,
no, it sounds bad. It just everything sounds like it's. I don't want to cuss, but it's half you know what. It's just kind of thrown together. It's just it's some people will buy it. It's got Star Wars in it. It'll be fine.
All right, so we got about 30 seconds left, sir.
30 seconds. What do we say in 30 seconds?
We'll say you'll be our in-studio with us
I'll be
next
your
week.
in-studio guest next Sunday. I will be there.
So we'll be
I'll
talking.
do my Ghostbusters review. I'm seeing that Friday with my old radio show partner, Christian. We're going to go see that up at Sparks at the Legends, so I'll let you know how it is.
All right. So we'll get a new Filippo's Horrible review out of that.
Yeah, they got it back. I guess I put the Dune one up there. I was pretty fair to it. It was not my cup of tea, but definitely for sci-fi fans, I'm sure it's a masterpiece.
It was good. I mean, better than most. I can say that. So, but
I kind of found it to be slow.
All right, sir. Oh yeah, that it was. All right, sir. We will see you next week. Literally.
Sounds great. See you next week.
All right. For everybody else, that Sporkle Pub Quiz with Scott trivia question is still out there. If you'd like yourself a pair of tickets to either go see or go to KaboomCon in Carson City on September 7th, or if you'd like a pair of tickets for Godzilla X Kong, the New Empire advanced screening on Thursday, March 28th. Feel free to call 775-515-4141, and we'll be back with more show after this, so don't go anywhere. back to Pop Culture Boom's radio show. Everything you want, everything you need in pop culture entertainment. Oh, I missed some of these texts. I gotta catch up here. So Jim, OJ, getting back to the Naked Gun, OJ would kill to be in the remake of Naked Gun.
Yucka, yucka, yuck.
Womp, 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 womp.
Waka, waka.
Good times.
Just don't give the guy a knife. He'll be fine.
Wow. Make sure he has 2 pairs of gloves.
Make sure they fit this time.
That too. That's always a good thing. All right, so let's go back to some news articles. So what do you think about all those movies and stuff that are going to be coming out? Any of them seem interesting to you at all?
You know, for me, the only one on that list that I was like, okay, I actually kind of want to see is Clue. And we talked about this before the show, but because Clue, the original film, fantastic, a classic, but was then turned into a musical on Broadway and is now, done by community theaters all over the world. And that is it's not really a remake because it is taking Clue the musical and turning that into a movie. So that one I'm lightweight interested in seeing. I'll need to see a trailer so that I can give you if it's a good or a so-so. But, for right now, I think that was probably the only one on the list. I was like, okay, I'm interested in this a little bit.
Okay. I'm not. I mean, I didn't watch the first film, and it had Tim Curry in it, so if that tells you anything.
I'm confused. Do you like Tim Curry or not?
I do like Tim Curry. I liked some of the movies he's been in. I thought some of them, he's done some interesting movies over his time period. I mean, I think the one that sticks out in everybody's mind, which actually makes no sense because, something about Disney now owning something or other, so that makes Frankenfurter a Disney princess. You ever see that meme? Which makes no sense because just because you're in Disney does not automatically make you a princess.
Yes, and nor did he claim to be a princess. He was a sweet transvestite.
Yeah, from transsexual.
Transylvania.
Yeah, so there it is. So, also, he was, which surprised me, was a Legend with Tom Cruise. He played the devil. Mm-hmm. I thought that was always Dolph Lundgren for some reason. I didn't know it was Tim Curry.
Yeah, those two very distinctly different looking actors. So
there was so much makeup on with those horns and everything. I mean,
this is true. But my point is, I think you, as a fan of movies, you should watch Clue, the original. I'm not saying you need to watch this remake or reboot or whatever you want to call it, because I don't get the impression that you're a big musical guy. So I wouldn't say this will be for you, but the original Clue was amazing.
Okay. I just never had any desire. It was based on a game that I didn't play. So I could care less if Colonel Mustard was bashing somebody's head in with a crowbar or candlestick or whatever, and piece of rope. I don't care.
In the library.
Yeah, or wherever. That just did not appeal to me. So
fair enough.
Nor would I watch a movie about Mousetrap. I didn't even really like the movie Battleship. I thought that was the dumbest thing on the planet.
Yeah. It's like, let's do a movie called Risk and just have it be a giant world war. Why not?
Anyway.
Did you guys
so
do that
thoughts.
review? Did you do the review on Civil War yet?
No, that hasn't come up yet. It's not out yet.
Oh.
It's still in the throwing trailers out type of thing. When it comes up, it probably will be on here, and I'll just kind of have to lampoon it because it just looks dumb.
Absolutely.
All right. Punkle have teamed up with I Am 8-Bit to reveal a special vinyl soundtrack as we're getting Vampire Survivors Volume 1 later this week. This 2 LP release comes with many of the well-known and familiar tracks from the indie game, which you have more than likely killed thousands of vampires to, as it gives meaning to the never-ending onslaught of bloodsuckers that you are laying waste to. The album will officially go on sale. It went on sale on March 24th, or March 14th, I'm sorry, at 8 p.m. Pacific time, going for $43 and shipping immediately. The vinyl soundtrack, which offers every track from Disc 1 of the original digital soundtrack, is part send-up, part tribute, but still wholly original. Survivor's synthy soundtrack, crafted by the super trio of Daniel Zandara, Filippo Vaccarelli, and Will Davies, harkens back to vampire slaying franchises of yore. I feel so medieval saying that sentence. I really do. But it does so in a decisively modern soundscape, exploring things that were impossible on an old sound chips. The resulting music is epic, nostalgic, and unexpected, packed with rad riffs and high-impact drum fills alike. The Vampire Survivors Volume 1 2X LP soundtrack features 22 songs across 4 sides, pulled from disc 1, 4 sides for one disc, of digital soundtrack pressed on blood-splattered colored red wax. That's cool. The disc slided to a spooky slipcover that features original cover art from our illustrator Nimit Malavaya. It perfectly captures the mood of Vampire Survivors with a piece of bodacious and, I can't say that word, your middle school doodles could only dream of being as cool.
So, as one that never played this game, did you?
I've heard of it. I've seen it. I just have no desire to play it.
Yeah, I'm curious. I guess the soundtrack must be pretty rockin'. If
I guess. You remember Smash TV?
Yes,
It's kind of like that,
okay,
except with vampires.
okay,
So
interesting. Yeah,
why I've never played it.
yeah. Conceptually, I don't think I've ever thought of a soundtrack, a video game soundtrack, being on vinyl, but the one that comes to my head that I'd love to see done hearing this concept would be Zelda Ocarina of Time.
Actually, a lot of people have thought that, quite honestly. So you're not alone in that one. All right, moving on. Blumhouse and AMC Theaters are celebrating Halloween early with the first ever Halfway to Halloween Film Festival. The 5-day festival kicks off Friday, March 29th in over 40 cities and 100 AMC movie theaters.
Okay, first of all, that's not halfway. That's a month shy of halfway. Second of all, why can't we just celebrate the holidays when they exist? Why do we need to do Christmas in July? Please help me.
No, I have no answers for you. I don't get it either. I mean, it's bad enough. Today is St. Patrick's Day. Does it even feel like in 2 weeks it's going to be Easter?
No.
I mean, that's how convoluted things are. You don't hear about them saying, let's celebrate Easter in November. You don't ever hear that.
And I didn't even realize today was St. Patrick's Day.
My dog celebrates Easter in November, though. You ever, the leaves start falling and then try and walk out in the backyard? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Easter egg hunt of a different sort there. It's sad but true. Movie career Friday, March 29th in over 4,600 movie theaters across the U.S. and features 5 different repertory films anchored by the 13th anniversary of Insidious. April 1st, nearly halfway to Halloween. Festival goers can catch their favorite Blumhouse films on the big screen with tickets priced at just $8 per film. Plus, they'll have the chance to win giveaways, get sneak peeks, and see exclusive recorded messages from directors and talent from the films. Tickets go on sale Friday, March 15th. They went on sale on Friday, March 15th, I should say, on amctheaters.com, all one word, and within the AMC mobile app for the following films. Friday, March 29th, Split. Saturday, March 30th, The Purge. Sunday, March 31st, Ouija, Origin of Evil. The word does not look like how it sounds. Monday, April 1st is Insidious, the 13th year anniversary of the movie's opening. Tuesday, April 2nd, The Invisible Man. The full list of cities include Atlanta, Baltimore, Boston, Charlotte, Chattanooga, Chicago, Cincinnati, Columbus, Ohio, Dallas, Denver, Detroit, Harlingen, which is in Texas, Hartford, Connecticut, Houston, Indianapolis, and Jacksonville, Florida. Yay!
I did not hear Reno.
No, you haven't. You won't. Kansas City, Missouri, Las Vegas, Nevada, Los Angeles, California, Miami, Florida, Minneapolis, Mobile, Alabama, New Haven, Connecticut, New Orleans, New York, Norfolk, Virginia, Orlando, Philadelphia, Phoenix, Pittsburgh, Rockford, Illinois, San Diego, San Francisco, Seattle, Spokane, Tallahassee, Florida, Tampa, Tucson, Arizona, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Washington, D.C., and Wichita, Kansas. Here's a quote. We wanted to celebrate local communities of horror fans throughout the country with a fun, affordable, and slightly evil night of movies. We're grateful to our partners at AMC for helping us bring this idea to life, said Jason Blum, founder and CEO of Blumhouse. Blumhouse films terrify and delight horror fans. We are excited to bring these favorites back to the big screen, said Elizabeth Frank, EVP, Worldwide Programming and Chief Content Officer at AMC Theaters. Okay, so speaking of movie theaters, here's something different, way different. Mini golf.
Okay.
Is heading to the upcoming Alamo Drafthouse Naples in Naples, Florida. We learned that Happyland Movie Miniature Golf will be located in the lobby of the cinema company's latest location and will combine a bar and a lounge with a 9-hole mini golf course for all-in-one fun.
So is that for the folks that are showing up early for the movie or staying after?
No idea. Doesn't say. The course's 9 holes are inspired by some of their favorite movies. They don't get into them exactly, but the one that they pictured was Jaws. And you have the shark's mouth where you have to hit the ball into, the two yellow floater things that they shot Jaws with to try and bring them up, you know?
Sure.
Those are the course that lead into the course. So it's kind of interesting. It'd be interesting to see the rest of them, but I guess we have to wait for it to open for that.
And head to Naples, Florida.
Mm-hmm. If the radio station will pay for it, heck, I will make that sacrifice.
I'll help you out.
Oh, you'll pay for it?
No, I meant I would go too.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense.
I'll help with your live remote.
The course's 9 holes are inspired by some different Hollywood creatures incorporated into the putting challenge. Guests can expect to start tapping it in at Happyland when Alamo Drafthouse Naples opens later this spring. In addition to the world-class mini golf course, Happyland will feature a full bar with 24 beers on tap and a golf-themed signature cocktail list, including an alcohol-free option called the Victory Lap. Riptide Brewing Company, a local Naples brewery, is also offering their Old Naples Blonde Ale under a private label named Chubbs.
I love how there have been so far 2 tie-ins to Happy Gilmore.
Oh, okay.
Tap it in.
You caught that.
Yes.
19th Hole Blonde Ale, inspired by the iconic character from Happy Gilmore's, portrayed by Carl Weathers. A custom tap handle in the shape of Chubb's wooden hand is being developed in honor of the late actor. The lounge and mini golf course will also be available to rent for events, parties, and screenings. With multiple HD TVs and room for 50 people, Happyland opens 30 minutes before the first movie each day and closes just after the start of the final show of the evening. Guests can easily start a round by purchasing a token from the concierge and redeeming it at a golf ball vending machine. Tokens cost $7 for adults, $5 for kids 15 and under, and every $20 spent at the Happyland bar earns guests a free token, so you can drink yourself to a gaming.
I'm okay with that. I will drink $20 of beer, and that makes more sense to me.
Okay. Play is open to all guests ages 3 and up, except at the bar. You can't be 3 and up at the bar. You can be 21 and up at the bar, but not 3 and up. In celebration of its first Florida location, Alamo Drafthouse will also be giving away a free year-long 2-person subscription to Alamo Season Pass, its monthly subscription service, which entitles subscribers to 1 free movie per day and a year of free mini golf. That's not bad. Sweepstakes rules and entry can be found at drafthouse.com/southwest-Florida, while more information on Alamo Season Pass can be found at drafthouse.com/victory/season pass. And while only one lucky guest will win a free year of movies and mini golf, any Naples film fan that joins Season Pass will get their second month free. That's 2 months of movies for the price of 1. This offer will only be available to Alamo Drafthouse Naples guests for a limited time after the grand opening. The new Alamo Drafthouse Naples will be located in a 33,652 square foot space in Morsato, a high-end mixed-use retail center. It will feature 11 auditoriums, updated with approximately 650 newly installed luxury recliner seats and 4K digital projection. Parking is free and easily accessible at a parking deck located behind the theater. Like all Alamo Drafthouse cinemas, the new Naples location will offer a scratch-made food menu, local beers on draft, and craft cocktails brought to guests in their seats by stealthy servers trained by niches, trained to not disturb the movie experience. Speaking of not disturbing the movie, the cinema chain's famed no talking, no texting policy will ensure guests can watch films. Doesn't every movie theater have that? Watch films free from annoying distractions. Guests are encouraged to arrive up to 30 minutes early to screenings for an ad-free pre-show with funny clips, informative video essays, and more.
I will say I was very disappointed that Shooter McGavin still does not get any respect.
I know.
Even in that.
They dish it out. Probably in a drink somewhere. They probably have the Shooter McGavin.
Hopefully, because it makes sense to have a shot called the Shooter McGavin.
Yeah, it does. I've never seen a movie. I refuse to watch any Adam Sandler movie.
Any?
Ever.
Hmm.
I just cannot stand him. He is not funny to me. I remember seeing him on a remote control back on MTV, back when they played music videos in between their reality shows. He wasn't funny then to me. He isn't funny now. And for that, I didn't watch Spaceman.
Fair enough.
So, yeah, just the way it is with me.
Spaceman?
Warner Brothers Discovery has emerged from patting themselves on the back for a job well done with Dune Part 2 to shift a few release dates around while also dating a few projects as well. The big project that everyone will be leading is that the Batman Part 2 has been delayed a year from October 3rd, 2025 to October 2nd, 2026, according to The Hollywood Reporter. There isn't a specific reason cited, but Jeffrey Wright was doing the awards circuit for American Fiction, and many outlets asked him about the project. He told several people that he hadn't even seen a script yet. Oof. Ouch. That's gotta hurt.
For a film that was supposed to release next year.
Yeah. So it sounds like, getting back to The Crow, by the way, we just recently got the first look, and we just got the first trailer for it.
Yes.
It comes out in less than 3 months.
Wow.
Yeah. So they are not looking for that to do much.
Clearly.
But yeah. So I think like June 7th or 6th or something like that.
That is a tight turnaround.
It is. So it sounds like Matt Reeves is still scripting the film. There is nothing wrong with that. Taking your time to get something right is usually the way to go with any project, really, except in Hollywood, apparently. That release date previously held by the Batman Part 2 isn't going to sit vacant either, as Maggie Gyllenhaal's The Bride will now be opening on that date. In the last year or two, everyone has been making Frankenstein adaptations, and some films are exploring themes similar to those of the influential text. That's also prime real estate in terms of release dates for award season, and considering how well Poor Things did, we know that the Academy is willing to look at these themes and see merit in them. Barry Levinson's new film is vacating the fall season as it has been delayed from November 24, 2024 to March 21st, 2025. That move is interesting considering that Levinson is an Academy Award-winning director and he's making a gangster film. This period tends to win awards, and moving to March isn't usually seen as a move a studio makes when they have faith in a project. We'll have to see what happens. The film is titled Alto Nights, and the cast includes Robert De Niro, of course, as a gangster, and Deborah Messing. Finally, Paul Thomas Anderson's next film will be released in late August 2025, which is a weird time to date a movie for him as well. But we'll have to see. The concept of a dead season seems to become more and more like a thing of the past. Excuse me. So, sure, we're not even halfway to Halloween.
Yeah, I don't think because that would be next month.
Yeah, but already there are some pretty big plans afoot. Things like, say a reboot of a classic B-movie turned musical turned movie with a giant talking, singing carnivorous plant.
Love that.
You know what I'm talking about already.
I do.
Iconic filmmaker Roger Corman is teaming up with Joe Dante for Little Shop of Halloween Horrors. This will be a reboot of Corman's 1960 cult classic horror comedy, Little Shop of Horrors. It is not to be confused with the movie musical version that was announced in 2020 that still hasn't happened, nor the revival of the musical currently on Broadway. This reimagining is the start of a new Little Shop of Halloween Horrors franchise, directed by Dante, from a script by Charles S. Haas. Corman will be co-producing along with the Emmy-nominated CEO of MPCA, Brad Korbov, and Charles Cohen. Little Shop of Horrors was directed by Corman and provided an early role for young Jack Nicholson. It tells the story of Seymour, a florist who discovers a strange new plant that craves human flesh. As the plant deemed Aubrey 2 grows, Seymour must feed it humans to keep it satisfied. This leads to a series of darkly comedic and increasingly twisted events while he tries to hide what he has done with his boss. Hide what he has done from his boss and his love interest. The movie, like many of Corman's films, was shot on a shoestring budget in 2.5 days. He developed Little Shop of Horrors when he had a set left standing for a few days after shooting his previous film, A Bucket of Blood. Stunts like this earned him the loving title of King of B-Movies and the Pope of Pop Cinema. Corman and Dante previously worked together on the 1976 low-budget exploitation film Hollywood Boulevard. It was Dante's first time in the director's chair. 2 years later, he directed Corman's Piranha. It's amazing how many movies of Roger Corman that I have seen.
Yeah, I've seen the original. I've done Little Shop, the musical, twice, and so of course, in doing research for doing a part, I've enjoyed the original movie. A very young Jack Nicholson. The original concept was that there were going to be multiple films with the Little Shop of Horrors not being representative of the shop where the plants were. It was meant to be kind of this corner shop where you'd go to find a library of stories, and each film would be inside the little shop.
So it's kind of like the original Halloween concept that John Carpenter came up with, where, Michael Myers was just going to be the first one, and then it was going to be like an anthology after that.
Correct.
Yeah, interesting. Well, maybe we'll actually see that anthology idea come into fruition, huh?
Could be.
All right. Eric likes the Rick Moranis version.
It is fantastic. I prefer the alternate ending, but
there's more than one.
There is indeed. And most people haven't seen it, so I definitely suggest it is on the Blu-ray, DVD, whatever at this point. But
I don't think I've actually seen it because it is a musical.
Not surprising. I'm guessing you're not a fan of Moranis or Steve Martin or.
See, Rick Moranis, I remember him when he was on SCTV back in the day with John Candy. And there's just a whole slew. It was like Canada's version of Saturday Night Live. So, I don't mind him. I mean, I just not a musical guy. I mean, plain and simple.
Yes.
I think there's 2 musicals that I've actually sat through. So, not surprisingly, one was about a serial killer, Sweeney Todd, the Demon Barber of Fleet Street. That one I really liked the stage production of it because my first exposure to it was had Angela Lansbury in it, and she played the shopkeeper.
The lead female.
Yeah, so that one I really liked, and so I've always liked it. I saw the Johnny Depp version; it wasn't as good. I never saw Les Miserables.
So I'm not a fan of Les Miserables. However, I do have to give respect to the show because I did Les Miserables, and that is where I met my wife doing that show. So, for better or worse, it has a positive in my life, but I am not a huge fan.
Okay. And I just make jokes usually about, Seven Brides for Seven Brothers. Never actually seen it.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that was a musical, so
Yes,
I
it
do
was.
know that. So, but yeah, I'm just not a musical. Or Cats. I've never seen Cats.
No one should. It's terrible.
No, even back when the Broadway
No,
popular
even then,
when that was popular, I was actually my only theater experience. Actually, I played Tom Snout, the hole in the wall for Shakespeare's Midsummer Night's Dream,
Mm-hmm.
and someone after we did the play, for our first performance, someone said, "You guys were better than Cats," and that was
One I think you would probably like is Evil Dead the musical.
I've heard of it. I don't know though. I'm kind of on the fence about that, quite honestly. But I am kind of interested. If it ends up being like a GWAR concert and you get blood all over you and everything.
So there is the splash zone.
Oh yeah, then
yes.
okay. I'm going to go see it then.
Speaking of GWAR,
Oh yes, it is. It is that time. It is time for a big interview with Mr. Blothar the Berserker. So we're going to have to do that here in a moment. So no point getting into anything else here. So Eric says the plant ate the city.
way to just spoil
Thanks,
the
Eric.
alternate ending.
Okay. And he liked Uma Thurman's version of Les Miserables. So I guess I didn't know she was in it. I know Russell Crowe was in it.
Yeah,
and,
I don't remember Uma Thurman.
Everybody panned him for his inability to sing or something like that, but
Yeah, he was bad.
that's what everybody says. But I refuse to watch it, so I wouldn't know.
Yeah, it was bad.
So, just some things some people shouldn't do. So, all right. So, we got a big interview coming up right after this. So, don't go anywhere. More Pop Culture Good Booms radio show when we get back. Dogs of Venus, they are GWAR. With 15 studio albums, 2 live albums, a cartoon, 3 movies, a bar in Richmond, Virginia, named after them because they need a place to sell GWAR beer and GWAR whiskey, and GWAR versus Time game. They have left an impact on pop culture that cannot be denied. GWAR is currently on the road in the frozen wasteland known as Canada for the current Age of Befuddlement tour that started March 3rd and will continue through the month of March in various locations. Now, before anyone in Northern Nevada gets too excited or scared, depending on how you feel about it, the closest they'll sadly be coming to Reno is Spokane, Washington. But we have on the phone, right now with us the defiler of decency, the OG Viking and leader of GWAR, Blothar the Berserker. How are you, sir?
I'm fine. I'm actually not in Canada yet. We're in the frozen tundra of Charlottesville, Virginia.
Ooh,
But,
that's just as bad, though. So, yeah.
Yeah.
But hey, you'll be getting up there, and you'll be able to play with polar bears and kind of, make you feel at home. It's kind of like the northern hemisphere version of Antarctica. So you guys should feel right at home, right?
Yeah, nothing like lying to border guards.
I'm not even going to question what that's about. Is that dinner in the background or what?
That's a dog fight.
Oh, okay. Entertainment on the side.
Yeah.
So there's a lot going on in the world of GWAR, and if you haven't been keeping up, you have missed a lot. I would recommend subscribing at the official cyber fortress of your lords and masters at GWAR.net. Let's start with the Age of Befuddlement tour. Is this just the first leg of the tour? Is it going to be like a mini tour until the summer festival start up?
Yeah, it's a mini tour that's pretty much the last leg of the touring we did for the last record. So, the New Dark Ages came out, I guess 2 years ago, 3 years ago. So it's been out for a while, and this is the last leg. And after this one, we will do. We're going to go into production mode and start making some more stuff. But this is getting us through to the summer touring that we may or may not do. It's not yet confirmed, and then we do have a leg in fall. But we kind of think of this as all being the same thing.
Well, is there any chance you guys will be coming back to Reno, Nevada?
Well, we play Reno. Last time we played there, it was in a casino where they were really worried about us I don't know. We were in the Liza Minnelli room.
That's kind of funny in and of itself.
Liza actually had them build a dressing room closer to the stage because she was too damaged to get there from wherever they originally had the dressing room. And I remember that it wasn't all that much closer. Yeah, but it was, she wanted to be able to just stumble out. And, so do I. I just want to be able to stumble out.
Well, you're a big individual, so I think you need plenty of room for that. Literally, how tall are you? I mean, you're like 6'5", right?
Yeah, 6'6", something like that.
Dang. Okay, so you're a massive creature indeed. So, with since you did mention the 15th studio album, The New Dark Ages, it was released in 2022. As we're going into 2024, will there be a 16th album coming out this year?
This year, no, but next year, yes.
Okay, so just putting all the fine details on it, or are you guys still getting material together to put that out?
Yeah, we're still working it out, still getting it together, writing stuff. I think we may do an EP first, maybe even 2 EPs. So there's a lot going on. I do think the next release will be an EP, and then we may decide to combine the ideas for the 4-song EPs into one release. It's sort of vinyl only, this side, that side.
So with the New Dark Ages, this being the final leg of kind of touring for it, do you got anything big planned as far as upcoming festivals? Like around here, there's not really anything in Reno, but Sacramento has like all kinds of festivals that go on there. Are you guys planning on attending any of those that you're aware of?
Not yet. I mean, I know that I don't think that there's been an announce on some of the festivals that we're doing. As a matter of fact, I know that the only one that I know of is Riot Fest. So I don't know about any of them around there, but I'm sure we'll be doing something.
Well, I think it is kind of like a rite of passage if you're into anything in the music at all. If you have not been to a GWAR show, then you need to go to a GWAR show. It should be on everybody's bucket list. I'm kind of old school because my first experience with GWAR was way back a long time ago when I was in high school. GWAR was pretty much just starting out and getting their legs underneath them and everything. So back then we didn't have internet and all that stuff. So first came the pictures of GWAR, which intrigued me because I've always been fascinated with, extraterrestrials and just you guys look kind of like Cenobites from the Hellraiser movies and stuff like that. Musically, I didn't hear you guys musically until they first started playing you guys on MTV back when MTV used to play music videos. So. And then after that, I actually got to go to a GWAR show. And when I got to the GWAR show, it was kind of like a rite of passage if you didn't leave there covered with something. And that was kind of the whole thing was. And I don't know what it was that was being spewed out back then, but, man, that stuff stained your skin for like a week. I mean, you couldn't get it off. I thought it was going to turn into like the Toxic Avenger or something because there was some kind of weird yellow stuff on me that would not come off. Yeah. So, but
no, it comes out easier now.
New formulated bodily fluids, I take it.
Yeah, too many lawsuits from unhappy mothers whose daughters just got their hair dyed for graduation.
And they got it re-dyed for
yeah, they certainly
courtesy
did.
of GWAR. They should have just waited and went to you guys and got it done for free. Well, not really free, but got it done a lot better.
Yeah.
So, just out of curiosity, since you guys been on tour, you guys tour fanatically. What is your favorite moment from touring? What has anything happened that just sticks out in your mind as your best moment ever?
I would say I always tell people it's Taco Land. When we played in Taco Land in San Antonio, Texas, Was it San Antonio? Yeah, it was San Antonio. Yeah, because it was the same town where the Sex Pistols played. And it was this Taco Land was a Mexican restaurant that we played a GWAR show. And because when we loaded in the daytime, it was just a few sort of migrant workers that were eating there. And it was a Mexican-owned restaurant, too. Basically what happened was that they kind of went around and told all their friends about all the crazy stuff we were bringing in, and they wouldn't leave it alone either. They kept picking up all of our stuff, and it was like trying to make sure nobody ran off with a big fake wiener or anything like that, or a blood mace. So we wound up having the concert, but none of the punk rockers that showed up at night could get in. It was basically full, of these migrant workers and like older folks and older some women there, and it basically looked like a saloon brawl when we started playing. It was completely insane. People pouring liquor down each other's throats, and just, I wouldn't have been surprised to hear gunshots going off.
Oh boy!
It was one of the wildest shows we ever did. That's for sure.
Well, at least it's stuck in your mind.
It did.
So speaking of the dark new ages, the album was accompanied by a new GWAR graphic novel from Z2 Comics and described as GWAR's most ambitious graphic novel to date. I'm, of course, referring to GWAR and the duoverse of absurdity, if I can even talk. Here's a brief synopsis of it. What can be more terrifying and terror-inducing than GWAR? The moment they must face the vomitous incarnations of themselves from a filthy alternate dimension. There's actually something worse than GWAR out there, besides
Oh, yeah, of course. It's very much like, Superman in the Bizarro world. The Bizarro GWAR is actually a country band. So,
boy.
Yeah,
that
that's
is
one
horrible.
of the EPs. Yeah, it is. It's one of the EPs we're doing, as a matter of fact.
Oh, really? So we're going to get to actually hear what the alternate universe GWAR sound like.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
They suck.
And they've penetrated our world by rupturing the membrane, which protected our very existence from those walking horrors. Unleashed in our universe, these dark mirror incarnations are bent on dominating and subjugating all of humanity to the will of the Master. Now it is GWAR's throbbing, messy duty to save all of us before it's too late. So whether you're a die-hard GWAR fan or just curious about their wild universe, this graphic novel promises a face-melting adventure. It's interesting that it ties in with the New Dark Ages album. But is there going to be a sequel to this or another GWAR comic book? Because it's been a while since you guys had put one out.
Yeah, we're going to do another comic, of course. And I think the next one will actually have something to do with the film that we're going to make. Or at least that's planned right now. This one is... the album and the record are linked, which is something that we hadn't really done before. Like, we hadn't linked the story. I mean, we've always had storylines, but this time it was the storyline as articulated in the comic. And, we're still not finished telling that story arc either. I mean, at least on stage in the live one, we have to do I think we've probably only gotten about halfway through that graphic novel as far as what goes on stage, but we'll get to the rest of it.
Okay, well, I look forward to seeing that. Tying into that, Trick or Treat Studios has GWAR action figures coming out soon. Even the dog's happy about that. Straight from the deepest reaches of outer space comes the original scumdogs of the universe, GWAR, standing roughly 5 inches tall. These highly detailed figures are a must for any GWAR fan, featuring Ballsack the Jaws of Death, Pustulus Maximus, Beefcake the Mighty, Jizmag de Gusha, and, of course, you, Blothar the Berserker. I got a chance to take a look at those, and if you collect all 5 of them, there is a Build-A-Figure. You get the legendary Odorous Arungus if you collect all 5 of them. So, and
But my question to you is, I saw the prototypes when it was first announced back in October, and
Right.
all of the figures, they are really highly detailed. I mean, they look absolutely great, except for yours, unfortunately. You have this weird, like, what's the best way to describe it? You know that O face on a sex doll? That's kind of what it looks like.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're trying to capture you singing, but I hope they fix that when it goes to mass production.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely better than it was, but because those were just computer model mock-ups. But it was fixed in production. Pretty. I hope they didn't lose the O face though. I like that. I'd like to be a sex doll. I think of myself that way.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, everybody's got to have goals, I guess. So my curiosity, because these look really great, and I hope that they are successful. Trick or Treat Studios has put out a lot of great stuff in the past. But I'm kind of curious, will there be a GWAR stage playset to go along with the figures anytime in the near future?
Something like that, yeah. We had talked about a carrying case that was actually the temple of GWAR, but that's actually a good idea. I mean, the stage set might be a better way to do it, but that's still in development.
Well, there's a couple of things that I would like to see added to it if you guys do go that route. I would like to.
It's not in development. We're just arguing over how much it's going to cost.
Yeah, that's always an
the big
argument.
thing. So what? How are you going to add to the cost? What's your idea?
Well, I would like to see the meat grinder, or possibly like a GWAR figure to go with it, or even the world maggot in the future. That'd be really cool to have on there.
Oh yeah, that'd be great.
See?
And we're definitely talking about that, like getting into the villain. Yeah, we're talking about it.
Speaking of the meat grinder, you guys, part of the ritual of a GWAR show is pulling members of the audience up onto the stage and kind of feeding them to the meat grinder. What happens to them after they've entered the meat grinder? I've always been curious. Not curious enough to jump in myself, but just kind of.
Well, they are ground into meat, and their fillings are removed and their valuables sorted by our tiny little, terror elves. And then, of course, they're, just made into dog food. Nobody wants to eat humans, but GWAR dogs. So, and then, that's it. They're shipped to the cannery.
Oh, the cannery. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, better than a horse meat, I'm sure.
Either that or they cower under the drum riser. And then, are escorted to the side of stage safely and kicked in the butt.
Kicked in the butt.
Yeah.
And gotten rid of one way or the other.
Yeah.
So there is also, among other things, that you can find at GWAR.net, the official website for GWAR, which is also the cyber fortress for your lord and masters. There's all kinds of cool little kind of knickknacks that you can get, one of which is a game called GWAR versus Time.
Oh, boy.
I'm kind of interested in who came up with this idea. GWAR versus Time is a deck-building game for 3 to 5 bohobs, featuring your favorite GWAR characters as well as their enemies from throughout the band's decades-long history. So I'm not really. I covered card games and like Pokemon and stuff like that, and different tabletop role-playing games. I'm kind of surprised that you guys haven't been approached by Wizards of the Coast to use your likeness in any of their, shall we say, any of their card games. Or
we've been approached by Wizards of the Coast. We just haven't done anything with them. because they need to be wizards of the cash to do something with GWAR. And right now they're more like wizards of the stinge. I don't know, like, but yeah. I mean, we've talked about doing stuff with Wizard. We actually have done some things with, not with the company. I mean, I suspect that there's a lack of courage that comes into play there. But they're nice folks. They definitely hooked us up with some, some other opportunities, and we may wind up doing something with them at some point in the future. But GWAR is a risky sort of proposition. I mean, there's a lot of obscenity and a lot of upsetting imagery that is associated with it. It's all in good fun, and it's supposed to be humorous and satirical, but as you know, the world is not a very fun or satirical place anymore.
No, it's not. I was going to ask you about that, actually. So has GWAR had a harder time now than back in the 90s as far as, you know?
The only thing that's harder now is that people are way more damaged, and they hurt each other more than really awful things that before we could only imagine, right? And that GWAR would only imagine. Now some of that stuff has become real, which makes it harder to joke and laugh about it, right? You have to find some new angle on it, because that's really, when you've got kids running like weird cyber sex rings of damaging other children and things like that, like, convincing kids to do things like cut themselves online, and just the human capacity for depravity has become difficult for GWAR to keep pace with, believe it or not. Or at least, maybe that's not true. Maybe what it is the widespread information about human depravity that makes it tough. But that's been the biggest challenge. We're not concerned with what people get upset. And it's weird, I mean, the truth of the matter is, like, I taught at the University of Virginia for 8 years, and that's where we are today, in Charlottesville. I was always terrified that somebody was going to find out that I was in GWAR. And when they did, and I was working with, radical feminists and, queer studies people, they didn't have any beef with GWAR. They didn't have any, they liked it. They liked that GWAR embraced outsiders and that GWAR took the time to speak to people that were marginalized, and that, GWAR makes fun of the hyper and exclusionary masculinity in heavy metal and rock and roll in general. So, I think that smart people are able to see what GWAR is and understand it. So we've been insulated. I mean, some people say your grandfather. They like to say you're grandfathered in. You can still do it. It's like there's no such thing as that. We know that's not true.
Yeah, that's true.
No. The reason GWAR survived is that we do it right. We don't give them a foothold for that kind of complete. Go ahead and quack here. I mean, it's absurd. So, if the world, it's like now the most humorless dicks are on the left. It's just kind of gross. But GWAR is, we're still doing what we do and trying to make a go of it. But yeah, with the Wizards of the Coast thing, I think that might have something to do with it. I know that, and if that's the worst, that we can't make a freaking card game. I mean, GWAR, we did do the time game, GWAR versus Time, and it was interesting because, there's just so much IP that we have. There's so much art. There's so much storyline. There's so much characters and kind of things that can be developed. And it is really suited. I mean, GWAR was born out of Dungeons and Dragons, and born out of the imagination of kids that played games, warring games, whether it was, we all used to play some of the old World War II battle games. We played, and I'm not talking about video games. I'm talking about, sitting down with a notebook and running games and writing stories. That's really how the band came into existence. Every single character in GWAR, for a time period, probably for at least the first 4 albums, every single character existed as a comic book character or a character in Dungeons and Dragons or similar turn-based strategy games before they ever were made into costumes and put on stage. So the band is very involved in that process for that scene.
Well, I would like to see is a GWAR video game, kind of along the lines of like Mortal Kombat. I think that'd be great. That'd be absolutely awesome, especially with the next gen consoles that they have out now and the engines that they're using. It would be the goriest, greatest game ever, in my opinion. Because it'd be able to take all the antics and everything that GWAR does on stage and kind of amplify it in the video game form, at least in that aspect. And you get to see and the finalities, fatalities, not finalities. The fatalities would be awesome. So.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that'd be a blast. We'd love to do that. We'll have to. We're thinking about it. It's expensive. Yeah. Video games cost a lot of money.
Not only to make, but to actually buy too. So.
Yeah. Just to get them out the door, and we've talked to a number of people about developing a video game, and kind of always ends in the financing round of negotiation, but. Who knows, man? We're getting a lot of syncs now, or we're working on syncs in video games. That meaning GWAR music in video games. So that's a thing that's going on.
Well, at least that's a way to possibly get somebody interested in funding it, maybe. That'd be great. Yeah. I'm almost out of time, sir. I'm getting close to being up against a hard break. The one last thing I wanted to talk to you about is because I did mention at the beginning of this interview that GWAR has 3 movies under their belt, but there is a 4th one that is currently in development titled GWAR Must Die, which is kind of, I would assume that is just a working title, because even on the front page of the official GWAR.net website, it says GWAR, but death cannot kill GWAR. Nothing can. So is this going to be nothing introduced into the GWAR universe, since nothing is the only thing that can kill GWAR, apparently?
Well, don't expect any narrative that we tell to be internally consistent, first of all. But GWAR always is. GWAR Must Die is a tagline used by the original villain, Techno Destructo, like sort of the original person that would try to take down GWAR. And I guess the idea is that the idea of GWAR has to perish. The idea of GWAR as a thing, maybe not the individuals, and even gods can die, right? Like it's work. They can cease to exist in any case. So that's really what that's about. And the movie is fun, man. It's basically like the plan for it is sort of the Blues Brothers told through the lens of GWAR, right? Like, getting the band back together after release from Joliet Intergalactic Penitentiary. How's it going to go down? That's what that is.
Okay. Well, any idea what the MacGuffin is going to be? What you guys have to like search for?
We got the MacGuffin. We got it. I do know what it is, but I'm not going to say.
Okay. At least not this time around. Hopefully closer when the movie comes out. We can hopefully have you back on to talk about that.
Yeah, man.
Oh, perfect.
Do it.
All right. So just a last question, sir. Everything that I've kind of touched base on, the GWAR movie, GWAR video game, and the next graphic novel from GWAR, and the toy line, and increasing and expanding the toy line. Are there any plans to do any kind of crowdfunding for any of this to help you guys financially to get it actually out there and in the actual world?
Well, before we talked, you mentioned that directors are doing that sometimes. Problem with crowdfunding is that
people.
Yeah, right. The problem with crowdfunding is the crowd, and I mean, there's also you want to be cautious about going to that well. GWAR's a pretty established property. In a way, I don't think that the band has gotten anywhere near the credit that it deserves in the history of shock rock and musical, sort of rock theater. Nothing like the credit it deserves. It's simply not in those conversations, and that is short-sighted and criminal and self-serving on the part of the music industry.
Well, and other things, music critics and just people in general, because I listed off everything that you guys have accomplished to date, and that is not a small feat.
No. Putting that on stage the first time was an accomplishment, right? I mean, it's not, and I think that GWAR is, I guess, to sort of get back to answering that question, we may wind up doing crowdfunding for some things. I just don't know if there's enough crowd to fund a movie, right? It's such a huge. I mean, we're trying to put together the first films that we made. We were making those with investment from publishing money, right? So we were taking publishing was by far our most significant source of income, and so. Back then, in the late 80s and the mid-90s, if you get a check for $185,000, we were dumb enough to think, well, let's make a movie, right? I mean, that's a fraction. That's the catering budget on a Hollywood film, So what we were doing was extremely shoestring, and we're just trying to do something a little different. Not crazy, but, maybe more along the lines of the budget of a fairly low budget, in the millions, but so that's what we're looking for, and we're trying to actually get some investors behind it and do it right. But you never know; we might wind up for at least part of it trying to crowdfund to get it over the line. We'll see. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, I wish you the best of luck with all of your ventures in the future, as well as being on tour. I'm up against that hard break and ran a little long, but all right. Blothar the Berserker, thank you for being a part of Pop Culture Kaboom's radio show. Again, everybody, if you want to go and check them out, they are currently on tour. All of their tour dates are up on their website, as well as all of their merchandise and social media connections and everything that you will possibly need. You can also get autographed stuff. But go check it out. The official cyber fortress of your lords and masters, GWAR, at GWAR.net. And you be safe out there on the road, and I hope to see you back here in Reno very soon.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
Welcome back to Pop Culture Kaboom's a radio show. Everything you want, everything you need in pop culture entertainment. I hope you enjoyed that interview with Blothar the Berserker from GWAR. Eric sent a bunch of questions, and Eric, all of your questions regarding GWAR, I will have to ask them. So I'll email them and let them know that you had questions. You had some pretty good questions too, Eric, so I'll definitely pass those along to GWAR. Everybody else, go to GWAR.net, and you can send them emails if you have questions. I do encourage everybody to go and check them out. They've been around for a very long time. I always have a good time at GWAR, but then again, I always liked live interactive things like that. I used to go to Rocky Horror Picture Show all the time in Palo Alto, California when I lived down there, so that was always a fun thing to do on a Saturday night.
Yeah, that was a highly entertaining interview, hearing dog fights in the background. And,
yeah, that was kind of weird.
Yeah, I do got to say it was also interesting hearing him try to stay in character, but then multiple times breaking character. But I enjoyed that interview. I wish I could have been a part of it, but, you got to pre-record when you got to pre-record.
Yeah, winter storms don't help. They do not help at all.
That's for sure.
All right. So we still haven't had a winner. If anybody would like to win themselves a pair of tickets to either Kaboom Con, you still got about 15 minutes left. You can get either a pair of tickets to Kaboom Con on September 7th, or you can get those advanced screening tickets for Godzilla X Kong, The New Empire, advanced screening on Thursday, March 28th at 4 p.m. at the Galaxy Theta in Carson City, Nevada. Nope. What does nope mean? Eric out of nowhere just throws out a nope. Nope.
Yeah, he's got to remember there's a delay. What's your nope in reference to?
I said a lot of stuff in the last 5 seconds. So no matter how this season of CBS's Ghosts ends, it was revealed that the network confirmed that a 4th season has been given the green light for another run, along with Fire Country. Ghosts and Fire Country are proven viewer favorites on both broadcast and streaming, thanks to exceptional storytelling, talented actors, and an ever-growing fan base, shared Amy Reisenbach, president of CBS Entertainment. Oh, that got his little dots going. Doing a wave.
Right.
So, President, we are elated to keep the momentum going and bring them back to CBS for next season. Based on the data released, the popular series is averaging over 10.2 million views in a live 7-day multi-platform viewing, broadcast and streaming, up plus 2% from last year. Streaming viewership is up plus 64% year over year.
Wow.
And Ghost ranked as the top comedy on Paramount Plus in February. In fact, the season 3 premiere was the series' most watched episode ever on a Live Plus SD basis.
They did promote the heck out of that during the Super Bowl.
Yeah, they did. He was referring to the Winter Storm as a nope with production work. Yep. Yes, it is. Okay. I thought he was referring to how I sounded, like I was been attacked by the chimp from Nope or something. Anyway. ABC has reportedly picked up the 4th season of the former TNT series Snowpiercer. The first 3 seasons of the show will hit AMC Plus streaming service later this year, with season 4 due to bow in early 2025. The series originally was developed for TNN before TNT picked it up. Scott Dickerson, who directed Doctor Strange for Marvel Studios in 2021's hit The Black Phone, was set to showrun and direct before parting ways with the project. It's been a bumpy track for the show, which was based on Bong Joon-ho's 2013 film, which was in turn based on the graphic novel. I'm not going to try and pronounce that. It's in Spanish. By Jacques Loeb, Benjamin Legrand, and Jean-Marc Roquette. Snowpiercer, the series, stars Jennifer Connelly, and so it was based off of a graphic novel. Interesting. Davine Diggs and Sean Bean, Rowan Blanchard, Allison Wright, Mickey Sumner, Ida Goldburn, blah, 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 blah. New cast members for season 4 include Clark Gregg. Oh, really? Yeah, I haven't seen him in anything since Marvel.
No, I know he was doing something on one of the big 3 networks, as a neighbor in a sitcom, I think. But, yeah, otherwise, no.
Yeah, so very interesting about that. So he's going to be in it. He'll probably die. Anyway.
That's his destiny.
It always is. Snowpiercer is an edge-of-your-seat thrill ride with a loyal fan base similar to the passionate fandoms we serve across our biggest franchise series. In a welcome addition to AMC and AMC Plus, Ben Davis, EVP of Original Programming for AMC Networks and AMC Studios said, "We look forward to giving viewers an opportunity to binge the first 3 seasons later this year in anticipation of the arrival of a remarkable 4th season helmed by Paul Zabrowski and his stellar cast, which will premiere in 2025. I never understood this. I saw the movie, and then I knew they were going to be making a TV series of it. My only thought at the time was, how? And let alone getting 4 seasons out of it. I mean...
Yeah, I mean, I could see, I guess you'd have to rewind and not take the movie into account, and so it's based off of the premise of the universe that it takes place within, I suppose. I haven't watched the series. For me, I watched the original Korean film and then the American version, and I enjoyed the film, but, you know, when I heard they were making a series, I was just like, why?
Yeah, my reaction too. It's one of those bizarre things. I don't understand why they would. I didn't think the film was that popular to warrant a TV series.
And for you, it's probably a prequel series. So
yeah,
because I don't see how it could
well,
take
there was
place
a
after the film.
definitive ending.
Yeah,
the train crashed.
Yeah,
so there it is. All right, we got some surprisingly good news to report on 2 Marvel Studios projects that we've been keeping an eye on and had some concerns about, thanks to Marvel Studios head of streaming television and animation, Brad Winderbaum. We have a positive update on where things stand with Dominique Thorne, starring Ironheart, and Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, starring Wonder Man. Between the global pandemics, SAG-AFTRA and WGA strikes, and major moves happening over at Disney that impacted Marvel Studios, there were rumblings about whether or not either or both projects would remain on the MCU schedule. Speaking with Agents of Fandom, Winderbaum revealed that both shows are in their editing stages and are on track to hit the small screens in the future. That's it. No date or anything. Yeah, absolutely. We're editing both of those shows as we speak. They're spectacular, they're amazing, and they're different. They're able to explore corners of the universe that are really exciting. Rory Williams is one of them, and I cannot wait for people to meet Simon Williams, Winderbaum shared. Of course, a release date would have helped, because nobody believes it until they actually hear something of some kind of forward progress other than it's in the editing stage.
Well, it's kind of hard with Ironheart. I mean, we were introduced to the character back in Black Panther 2, which was quite some time ago. Mm-hmm. To have no follow-up is kind of disappointing.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, too. And then that's kind of where Marvel has their problem right now. I thought when they would go to doing the TV series and stuff like that they'd be able to keep all of these characters relevant. And plus, going into a storyline like Secret Wars, you kind of have to have an abundance of characters. On both sides. So, but Marvel has a tendency to, I don't know why, but Hollywood has this tendency to kill the villain as opposed to capture the villain or, have them, I guess they figure death is the ultimate punishment for whatever crimes they commit. But I never saw it that way. They should be saving these characters for something, and that was my biggest gripe about Black Panther in the first place. You had Killmonger and you had Krang. Mm-hmm. Was it Krang? Or am I thinking of somebody? Kang. No, not Kang. Oh, man. I can't remember his name now. Anyway.
Namor?
No. I was so...
you're talking about Ulysses Claw.
Yes,
the first
Claw.
Gotcha.
Dr. Claw, or Claw. I don't know where I came up with Krang. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles reference there. Not even the same character in any way.
Not talking about a big old brain and a belly.
Yeah, that's okay. Those 2 characters were the best villains in Marvel, period, at the time. Mm-hmm. And they killed them both off in the same movie. And I was highly disappointed about that.
Yeah, I mean, at least Claw had, Age of Ultron, where he got introduced, so he had 2 films. But, I agree. Killmonger was wasted. And I mean, to be fair, they did try to bring him back to an extent. But
flashbacks.
Yeah, it makes me wonder, though, if there is the possibility of still trying to move down that path of resurrecting or... because as we know with comic books, no one is ever really dead.
Well, yeah, they kind of had that whole snap thing, and and from there they went into this whole multiverse thing. So you never know. That could be bringing back characters and odd incarnations. That could be a thing.
I am interested to see what they're going to do with Kang in the multiverse now, but
Not much, I don't think. So everything 890s is coming back for its nostalgic adult fans, and that now includes Street Sharks figures from Mattel.
Street Sharks, poor man's TMNT.
Wow. A new wave of figures will arrive in time to celebrate the 30th anniversary of the 1994 animated series. The collection will include 6-inch scale figures of Ripster, Jab, and Slash with modern features that include real fin skin. Ew. Real feel skin. They're marine animals. That's kind of disgusting. Updated articulation, chomping jaws, and shark cage accessories that can be combined together to form larger cages. Since I have Sharky the Shark Dog now, I wonder if it would be large enough to fit him in it. Pre-orders for the new Street Sharks lineup launched March 15th on Amazon, and at Entertainment Earth, they are also expected to launch at Walmart.com as part of their Collector Con event. Okay.
Yeah, I'm all about nostalgia, don't get me wrong, but there are some things
That should not be resurrected.
Yes.
Ever.
Thank you, Metallica.
Metallica.
Thing that should not be.
Oh, I was thinking more like a pet cemetery for IP there.
Yes.
Let's resurrect Street Sharks. Yeah.
Let's see. I got one. Let's do Pawpaw Bears.
Pawpaw Bears.
Look it up.
No, I'm scared.
Yeah, it would not in this day and age in this society. Pawpaw Bears.
Okay, well, fair enough. Hasbro is back with a new Transformer collaboration, and this time with Target.
Oh, no.
Yeah, this is bad.
Oh, no.
That's right. Optimus Prime is now teaming up with Target as he is interestingly joining their fleet as the latest delivery truck. So that means he'll be late or stuck in the mountains during a snowstorm. Featuring a new deco and design, the Target Optimus Prime will convert from a robot into a Target delivery truck in just 30 steps.
Oh, get out of here.
No. I still got a couple minutes left of the show. His signature trailer is included for his battle station needs, as well as will also come with a partner with the Target mascot Bullseye.
So the little dog is going to be...
I don't think it's going to be little. I think it's going to be rather large for a dog, almost like the big red dog.
And I'm not looking at this, but does the trailer have like the Target logo?
Yes, it does. It's white with the red Target. Yeah, Bullseye. This shopping dog has a new Autobot makeover and will convert from a dog into a Target package in only 7 steps.
What is a Target package?
I have no idea. If you really love Target or just need a new version of Transformers Optimus Prime to bring home, then look no further. As usual, the leader of the Autobots will come with a matrix of leadership accessory to take on any Decepticon threat that stops his deliveries. The Transformers Target Optimus Prime and Autobot Bullseye 2-pack is a Target exclusive and is priced at, you want to take a guess?
$29.99.
Wow, you guessing low. $59.99. And pre-orders are online right now with this dynamic duo arriving in late June of 2024. So, more bad news from Hasbro. Hasbro is embracing the dark side as they unveil a new Star Wars The Black Series 3-pack collector set coming to life from the hit video game series Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. The Inquisitors are rising once again. This special set features a brand new Cal Kestis, as he embraces the dark side as an Inquisitor, which was featured in a Force Vision and a selection costume for the game. This set will also come with the Second Sister and a Purge Trooper to help him spread the Empire's wrath across the galaxy. This is a fun 3-pack set for the Star Wars fan, and it does feature some reissues, but they are all worthy additions to help enhance their release. It has been quite some time since the Second Sister has been seen, so it is surprising Hasbro did not give her an unmasked head sculpt but for this set. Either way, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order fans will be able to find the Inquisitor set for, you want to take a guess?
$79.99.
Wow, you're getting better. $74.99.
Ah.
Well, with a spring 2024 release date, Hasbro will be releasing this set as an Amazon exclusive, and pre-orders are live now. So go and check it out if you want. So a new Nintendo rumor has surfaced online claiming to have details on the next Animal Crossing game in development for Nintendo Switch 2, or whatever the next console ends up being called. But that is a story for another time, once it's confirmed. A big thank you to our guest, the leader of GWAR, Blothar the Berserker. Check out all things GWAR, including all their merchandise, tour packages, and tour dates on their website, gwar.net. You can find all of their social media links as well there, including social media links to individual band members, all in one place, the cyber fortress of your lords and masters, GWAR, at gwar.net. With all guests on Pop Culture Kaboom Radio Show, Pop Culture Kaboom follows and likes them on Facebook, and as they post news about their projects, it is reposted to the Pop Culture Kaboom news feed. Be sure, at the very least, to like and follow Pop Culture Kaboom on Facebook to keep up with all of Pop Culture Kaboom's radio show guests. Next week, Pop Culture Kaboom's radio show will not only have for you the latest news and information from the 7 pillars of pop culture entertainment, Tony Sanfilippo, Filippo's Horrible Reviews, will be with us in the studio for the entire show. And our special guest will be the gentleman sitting across from me, Mr. Mark Helton. He is the founder and con organizer for 97 and Now Productions. We'll be talking extensively with Mark Helton about all of 97 and Now Productions' upcoming audio dramas, upcoming 97 and Now Productions projects, and talking all things Kaboom Con, Carson City's first ever pop culture and comic book convention, taking place at the Carson City Community Center September 7th. Thank you all for tuning in tonight, and please continue supporting Pop Culture Kaboom by listening to Pop Culture Kaboom's radio show live every Sunday night. And if you miss any part of the live show, check out Pop Culture Kaboom's podcast, produced by 97 and Now Productions, and not only get this episode, but also previous episodes and some bonus material that'll be coming up as well. Subscribe to Pop Culture Kaboom's podcast on your favorite podcast platform. Also give a like and or follow to Pop Culture Kaboom on Facebook for everything you want, everything you need from Pop Culture Entertainment Daily. And subscribe to Pop Culture Kaboom's YouTube channel for video interviews from events we have and will be attending. On behalf of Quizmaster Scott from Sporkle Pub Quiz, Tony Sanfilippo, Filippo's Horrible Reviews, our guest, GWAR leader, Blothar the Berserker, KNBC, Mark Helton for being here tonight to fill in for Rob, who is out of town, and I thank you for your continued support. We will talk with you again right here live next Sunday, anytime during the week on Facebook and or via email. So until next Sunday, be safe, stay healthy, have a happy St. Patrick's Day, and peace out, Wabbits.